the main event.
Welcome to WHW Monday. Tony Schiavone and Conrad Thompson.
Jim Crockett First Arcade, 605 NWA. TV title, Cajun Omni, the Bunkhouse Stampede. Flair and Horseman, Garvin, Bogey, Magnum, Dusty, Express Tag Team. Turner, Bond, Mid-South Joint World Championship Wrestling.
Talking about the great years of World Championship Wrestling, the NWA, and Jim Crockett Promotions.
Tony and Friends North, they win. Look, Schiavone's back again. World title split off center stage, Bischoff. Disney, Hogan, and Nitro. New World Order and the Crow. Thunder, Russo, Arquette Champ, Vinnie Mac, simulcast. Tony's back with Conrad, not your classy podcast. Watch along, try not to laugh. Lowest rules can't pass. This wasn't the initial plan. Tom Zigg's a good-looking man. Klondike Bill, make a chant. Tommy, you come over here.
What happened when? WHW Monday. And now, let's go to the ring. And here's your co-host. Hey, it's Conrad Thompson.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson, and you're listening to What Happened When? With the voice of our childhood, Tony Schiavone. Tony, what's going on, man? How are you?
Hey, Conrad, what's going on, buddy? How you doing?
Man, I can't believe we're here. You and I are back for another edition of WHW Monday. If you're not listening on Monday, what are you waiting on? Go to patreon.com/WHW Monday and find out what you've been missing out on. Little extra bonus action, talking to Tony Schiavone every month, some bonus episodes. It's like a little family over here on Patreon, isn't it?
We are family is what we are. You and I are our brothers. And then, of course, we have our brothers who are our Patreons, and we have our brothers and sisters who listen to us on a weekly basis on Wednesday when we drop. And I'm pretty excited about this and the reason a number of reasons. One of the main reasons is that it's been a few weeks since you and I watched a show together. We had Tony returns to TNT a couple of weeks ago, then Asked Tony Anything last week. And so it's been about 3 weeks now since you and I watched a show together, and we're going to watch a pretty good one.
We are. Halloween Havoc 1994, and we're doing it on the 25-year anniversary today, which is October 23rd, 1994. And that's freaking unbelievable to think about the fact that this is 25 years ago. Do you feeling old yet, motherfucker?
Oh, I feel old every day, but I feel especially old every time you and I talk, because I go back and I look at things, and I looked at yesterday before we started this show. I looked at a lot of these. I went through some of the matches, looked at the interviews, and they don't seem to me like they were 25 years ago. And then you see, we got Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan in a cage, and the title on the line and all that, but you see that, and then you don't think it was that long ago, but then you see Ric Flair the way it looks today, and then you think, wow, that was a long time ago.
It was indeed. But you know what? What a great time to be a wrestling fan, where we get to fire up the WWE Network and watch this big show back, and it is a big show. With the voice of our childhood, Mr. Tony Schiavone. Bruce, take your pills.
Okay. Hang on a second. Stop right there.
Did you not know we were recording today?
Yeah, I knew we were recording.
Okay. I just didn't know. What I want to know is what happened when we woke up the other member of our tag team here and we fired up the WWE Network to watch Halloween Havoc 1994.
It's Halloween Havoc 1994. Go to the WWE Network, click on In Ring, go down to WCW pay-per-views, click on that, do the drop-down menus, Halloween Havoc 1994, and there you'll find it. October 23rd, 1994. Ready, Conrad?
Motherfucker, I've been ready.
Let's bring in Lois Schiavone.
You guys are so sick. You guys are just ridiculous. 3, 2, 1... play!
Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair. Careers are on the line.
Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan, baby.
How about a very rare glimpse of the quote unquote Vegas big gold right there from Ric Flair? I didn't even remember that was on this show at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Ric Flair and WCW commissioned a belt to look like the I guess it was actually the WWF who did it. They made a big gold belt when there was the whole lawsuit where Flair couldn't wear the big gold belt on TV, and he kept it.
Right.
And he used it here in WCW. So the only time you saw it on TV was a couple of WCW skits and scenarios. Oh, look in the front row. There he is. The greatest of all time, Muhammad Ali. How about that?
And of course, my gosh, Tony Schiavone, along with Bobby the Brain Heenan, who just had neck surgery again. And of course, Mean Gene Okerlund. And here we are 25 years later. I'm the only one still alive.
Well, that's right. But I think all of our listeners wish that one of us was alive. Isn't that right, Bobby?
Well, let me tell you, the guy to my right sucks. I'm taller than him, but when we sit down at this desk, he's going to want his fucking chair higher than mine. Don't he realize I'm a major star and he's just a gimmick? Here's the fact. 25 years from now, us two may be dead, Gene. The fact is, he's not going to have a job in wrestling anymore. He'll never get back into professional wrestling. His career is done. I'm going to bury his ass with a book. I'm going to bury his ass on TV interviews. I'm going to bury his ass, make sure he never gets a job again, and I'm going to live forever.
Well, I don't think you're going to live forever, Bobby. I think that might be a little tough at our age.
Well, the fact is, look behind me, the Joe Louis Arena. You saw the shot of Muhammad Ali. It's a big-time star. He's one of the biggest stars ever. And how long did we show him? We showed him for maybe 2 seconds. We should still be showing him right now.
Well, we're not done with Muhammad Ali.
Well, I may be done here because look at me. You see this neck brace? This neck brace was because of Brian Pillman, that stupid son of a bitch. When we were in Las Vegas last time, came out the ring, he grabbed me, made me snap my neck back, and then I told WCW, workman's comp.
Hang on, that hasn't happened. That happens in 18 months. But Tony?
Well, as you know, it's the WCW hotline.
That's right. Give it a call right now, kids. 1-900-909-9900. I get a third of this shit. Call right now. All of the proceeds go directly to Grey Goose and Kettle One. That's 1-900-909-9900. I've got 3 kidneys. That's a great filtration system for all that vodka. Is it not, Tony Schiavone? It's the greatest filtration system in the history of our great sport. 1-900-909-9900.
That's my line, you bald little motherfucker. The greatest history of the sport that I'll never use again when you hear me in 2019 on AEW. Let's go to the ring. It's time for our national anthem. Whoa, say, can you see? I'm an old gray-headed fucker, and I'm a country music singer. And people in Detroit don't give a shit about me. Muhammad Ali is here. Also Willie Stargell and Hank Aaron. And Hitman Thomas Hearns will come out punch drunk. This is the same building where we're going to throw the giant off the roof. And then we're going to get into some monster trucks and we're going to fuck up the business. But that's not going to be this year. We're going to fuck up the business in a couple of years from now. Oh, look, there's Muhammad Ali. And fuck you guys. Thank you. Good night.
That might be the best singing you've ever done here on the show.
Yeah. This is the Joe Louis Arena. This is where it all took place. Isn't it amazing that you'll never think about this arena again without thinking about the giant falling off of the roof?
I know whenever I think about the giant falling off a roof, I do so in my new purple mattress.
Damn. I'm a whore. Oh, shit. How about this? This is not a heat getter, is it? Oh, God. I've always liked this guy. I really have.
I don't understand why he had so much heat. Like, I don't mean like with the fans. I get that, but I've never had any like real interactions with him outside of, being a fan or whatever. But, it seems like almost nobody has anything nice to say about the Honky Tonk Man, but dude, he had fucking heat for every crowd ever. Like in the 80s, it was white hot heat.
Yes, it was. And it's almost as if there are wrestlers and people out there that are envious of the heat that he had.
Oh my gosh, look at this. The kiss that don't miss, ladies and gentlemen, the television champion himself, Johnny B. Bad. Have a bad day. How about the spider web cape? And he's got fangs in, and he's shooting sparklers. Boy, this is like DDP's favorite gimmick, huh? Dude, what a look from Mark Miro here. What a look.
Yeah. He's a bad man. Oh, who's this girl? She ain't with us any longer. She's about 90 right there.
I feel like Johnny B. Bad was in the opening match for every WCW pay-per-view ever.
I think you may be right. That or a luchador. They wanted, this is before the luchador era, of course, with us. And they wanted Johnny B. Bad because they thought it's a.
Listen,
what's that?
The luchador era.
Okay.
We might actually need a shirt for that luchador era.
The luchador era.
You know,
well, anyway,
whenever I need a shirt, I know I go to lowestrules.com. Such a great selection of shirts right over there that, the cotton is so breathable and they're pre-shrunk. And Conrad, have you tried the soft touch tees? Lord knows I have, especially when I got Lois a tank top. And you know what's great about a tank top with a woman, Conrad, as well? They wear them to bed. And I don't need to tell you, you get a little looky-loo every now and again. One of those little hash browns slides out in the middle of the night. It's pretty great. But when you go to lowestrules.com, you'll see some of the new great shirts.
Hey, shut the fuck up, man. We're talking over Johnny let loose his cannon.
He's doing what now?
Let loose his cannon. And we've got Honky Tonk Man in a red singlet. This is just a visual feast, isn't it?
Well,
guy coming out looking like Elvis, guy coming out looking like Johnny B. Bad.
Give everybody a countdown. Tell everybody where we are.
Okay, let me go. Let me move. 7:58, 59, 8 minutes. And there's the World Television title belt.
Which I believe Dave Milliken actually owns, famed belt maker. I think that's the one he's got.
Hey, I want to say hello to Dave Milliken. Great guy, one of our friends. Great, talented guy. I think he may be one of the unsung heroes in pro wrestling over the years.
What a great job he did with the AEW belt.
Yes, he did.
I know he made the men's and the women's, and I know a lot of people are talking about the women's right now, but that men's world title you guys have is just, whew, it's a dandy.
And we're getting ready to debut the AEW Tag Team Championships as well.
He didn't make those shits.
He didn't?
No.
Okay. Just a little AEW Dynamite plug here. Oh, don't talk about current shit on this, Schiavone. We want to talk about the old stuff.
Well, here's the deal. We've talked about AEW ad nauseum, so I understand.
Yeah.
I do think that, we need to circle back to talking about lowestrules.com, because we do have an AEW themed shirt, where it looks like the AEW logo, but it says WHW. So it's black, white, and gold. It's good stuff. But the new shirts we've got over there, cause we've just recently, got creative again. That's going to put some butts in the seats. Cooter Palooza, Who's Next? Tony Reed's Rap, Straight Out of Craigsville, Blumpkin Mania, Tony freaking Schiavone, the goddamn Candyman. And then a couple of shirts I really get a kick out of. One that says Eric and Arn and Tony and JR and Bruce and Conrad, which is great. Hire Mance Warner, which I think we should promote more often, because we're going to try to get him on TNT. And then the two new shirts that I think you're going to love the most, inspired by the Something to Wrestle logo, is a shirt that says Someone to Tussle with Tony Schiavone.
Yeah, baby.
I love that. And I know your favorite shirt, Batwinging. And you got to check this out. The design on this shirt, You don't have to know what Batwinging is, but when you see this shirt, you can figure it out fairly quickly. LoisRules.com.
You mean it's a shirt with a picture of a scrotum stuck to the side of a leg?
Kinda. But it's in the shape of the Batman logo.
Mm. Oh, okay. There you go. Love it. I love it. I got Batman in my pants because I'm Batwinging. That's what we got. Hey, these two guys are just tearing it up right now, aren't they? I mean, what a way to start this show. They are just tearing it up.
By the way, this match gets 10 minutes, and it gets 1.25 stars, according to the Observer. Meltzer would say this was better than expected, which attests to Bad improving and had really good heat. Too many rest holds, particularly near the end. By making the 5 minutes call in this and only match, they pretty much telegraphed the draw. So we have the sound down, but they're going to announce in the middle, 5 minutes remaining, which Meltzer says, well, when they told us that, we knew for sure this was a draw.
Meltzer was right there, and it's an issue that I brought up many, many times. I said, a lot of times you're telegraphing that you're going to have a draw, and you shouldn't do that. But what the fuck do I know, right? Oh, just a fucking gimmick. Take a look at Joe Louis Arena, man. This was a very, very good night for us. We were doing a lot of. I thought, of course, we had Hogan, and this is Hogan had arrived in 1994, and I thought we were doing a lot of things right. Obviously, we didn't get hot and didn't start doing big business until the NWO angle, but I thought we were doing things correctly here.
No, I don't think anybody would disagree. I mean, you've got Hulk Hogan coming in that summer, and you guys are going to blow it up at Bash at the Beach. That formula works so well, you're going to try it again here with a retirement match. I mean, there's so much going on in this match. It's one of the more famous sort of maybe infamous main events. Maybe that's the right word.
Okay.
Because there's so much shit. You got Mr. T, and you got a guy under a hood, and you got Sherry, and it's also a cage match, and your career's on the line. I mean, it's gimmicks on gimmicks on gimmicks on this one.
Right. And let me ask you this, and it's something I guess we can bring up again. First of all, this match, I agree. I think this match was better than anticipated because I think that Johnny was very green, and they didn't expect him to do well in this match. And the fact that here the Honky Tonk Man, Wayne was working with a green guy, and sometimes maybe he wouldn't be as willing to work with a green guy as other people. But another point, and the other point is, did anybody really believe in career versus career in pro wrestling? Did anybody really believe that if Ric Flair would lose or if Hulk Hogan would lose, their career would be done? To me, career versus career matches are like a waste of time.
Well, I think you say that as someone who's been in the business and is a little jaded or whatever.
Right.
I mean, 94 motherfuckers were stupid. I mean, the Honky Tonk Man and Johnny B. Bad are here. Does anybody believe that this guy's really Elvis? Does anybody believe that this guy's really Little Richard? I mean, and next up, we've got Marcus Bagwell and the goddamn Patriot taking on Paul Roma and Paul Orndorff. And then after that, we've got Dave Sullivan and Kevin Sullivan. And then a little later, we've got not the Big Boss Man, but the Guardian Angel. But before that, we've got Jim Duggan beating Stone Cold Steve Austin. And you're out here wanting to question whether or not this retirement angle is real. Goddamn, if that was my undercard, I'd want to fucking retire too.
How old were you in 1994?
13.
Wow. Well, I bet you were an obnoxious 13-year-older.
You're really rude sometimes.
No, I'm not. I'm just trying to, I mean, look, you're obnoxious now. You're 25 years later. Oh,
I'm trying to be entertaining, motherfucker.
What? You are. You're the most entertaining motherfucker I know.
That's not true.
No, you are. You are entertaining motherfucker.
I think I entertain you way more off air than on air.
Yeah, you do.
And I don't just mean when I'm buying prostitutes for you in Las Vegas.
Oh, for quiet. Would you stop with that bullshit?
Tony, everybody listening knows it's a joke.
Well, you know, it's the old adage, you say it enough, they'll eventually believe you.
Well, I'm just saying, like, they know you can't get hard or whatever. So it's like, why would you go to the trouble of hiring someone? You know, like, come on.
Just to look at her. Say, oh, she's pretty. Thank you for being with us. Bye-bye.
Just want to check her.
She was awfully pretty, Conrad. Thank you very much.
I think I'll have that mellow yellow now. 10-minute match with Honky Tonk Man and Mark Mero.
Wow, and it feels like 30 minutes already.
Honky Tonk Man has mastered the art of working every match like it's 1987.
Yes. This is obviously right before Eric fired him. And Eric goes on to has said many times how happy he was to fire the Honky Tonk Man.
Boy, that comment didn't age well, did it?
It did not.
You and I haven't talked about this because we actually recorded last week's show in advance of the news. What, how and when did you find out that our friend Eric Bischoff was no longer under the employ of WWE?
When I landed last week in Philadelphia, as we're taping this, my phone rings. I turn my phone on, my phone rings, and there's a text on my phone from Arn Anderson. And the text said, "Told you made right decision because of what happened to Bischoff." And I went, shit, what happened to Bischoff? And then Dean Malenko was sitting beside me, and Malenko looks at his phone. He said, "Vince fired Bischoff." I went, "You've got to be fucking kidding me." And that's how I heard. Of course, that was a lot of the talk that day backstage.
You were mad when you heard that Vince had fired Bischoff?
Yeah, I was mad because Eric's a friend of mine, and I wanted to see him be successful. I have nothing but good things to say about Eric because Eric afforded me a great living back during this era. So I wanted him to work. And then I got to thinking about that could have happened to me.
Yeah.
And so it was very disturbing.
Are you surprised?
Many ways, no, I'm not.
What does that mean?
I got the feeling. that he was hired just to keep him away from AEW. I got the feeling that that's why they wanted to hire me.
You feel like maybe because the show was on TNT that AEW would have an interest. I mean, have you had a conversation with anybody in AEW about Eric Bischoff?
I've not, no.
I mean, I haven't either. So that's why
No.
I was like, I don't know if that makes sense, but to me, it felt like he probably got the gig because of our great close personal friend, Bruce Pritchard. Maybe Bruce lobbied for him and they brought him in. And
that's a good point. That is a great point. I think Bruce lobbied for me too, to be honest with you.
I wish that motherfucker lobby for me. Damn.
Shit. You don't need a job.
I know. I got too many. I'm trying to unearth some of them right now.
You don't need a job. You are a multi-millionaire.
What
and
are you?
And you don't need fucking work. You don't need job.
That's not a thing.
What do we got here? Baby. Dun, 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 dun. No! A masked man with a pipe Hit him in the knee. Who is it? Oh my God. We're doing an Olympic angle. Of course we are. It's 1994, right?
What's your
We're
time?
doing these.
What's your time code here?
Are we not on the same? 2049, 2050, 52. Where are you?
Just making sure everybody's along with us. You know, we're doing a watch along every now and again. Our number one piece of feedback on social media is, hey, when you're doing these watch alongs, we just need you to give the time code a little more often. So I'm going to make you do it all the time.
Oh, well, I need to read social media a lot more, don't I?
No. So here comes the Hulkster with the big gold belt, and
it's the Black Scorpion.
He's got the limpy knee. Boy, look at Arn Anderson. It's so obviously Arn Anderson. Can you imagine?
You know what?
Trying to do this mask gimmick in 2019.
Yeah. You know why we know it's Arn Anderson? Because his head is big as a fucking bucket.
It was just his unmistakable. No, this is not Arn Anderson. That looks like Bunkhouse Buck.
Could be.
No, it's not.
Wow, look at the fans at center stage. Really into this shit now.
They love those free tickets. What's up with the ear in the hand? That's a weird deal.
The what?
The ear, you know, like instead of the foam finger, the number one, they've got the foam Hogan cup in his ear, you know, like he'd go around and fire up the crowd.
Look at this. We just happen to have a camera, and there's Ric Flair and Mr. T together at Michael Jordan's restaurant.
I love the way you pronounce that word. Were there at Michael Jordan's what?
Restaurant.
All right, thank you.
Restaurant.
No,
Bobby, we were at Michael Jordan's restaurant just the other day. I call it restaurant. Most people call it restaurant, but I'm from a real hick town in Virginia.
Well, here's the deal. Of course you're from a hick town. Everybody knows that. Jesus Christ, look at the way you're dressed. You ought to go to a tailor. You ought to go to my tailor. He's blind, but you know what? He can even see this jacket, because you could be on fucking Mars and see this jacket. You know what I see? I see me burying you in shoot interviews for the next 20 years. That's what I see.
Well, thank you very much, Bobby the Brain Heenan. Let's go to the ring. Oh, by the way, for you guys on social media, 23, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. There's your time code. Here comes Paulie and Paulie. I think.
What a fucking name for a team here. Pretty wonderful.
Pretty wonderful. It was pretty inventive, I thought.
I like it.
I don't think and maybe we have, and I think even if we have, we should do this again. We should put over the fact of how valuable Paul Orndorff was as a performer and as a quote unquote agent, producer, coach, whatever you want to call him now, backstage, and with the power plant. He was a very valuable member of WCW. And regardless, I mean, he had that injury, and obviously it limited his career. But even though he had oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was going to say how great Paul Orndorff was.
Hang on. Are you not going to acknowledge the Percocet Express?
Hey, I
coming to a pharmacy near you, brother.
Dale Wilkes has had quite an interesting career, hasn't he?
Dude, what a great story he has. You know, he's talked about being deep in the thralls of addiction and, you know, life not looking too good. And man, he kicked out, and he's still with us today. He's got a great book out. He's available for personal appearances. You can see him here and there. And, you know, he's one of the great success stories, because for a long time, you know, he was in a bad way with his addiction, and he's managed to come out on the other side. So a really, really great story.
No, he was a very, very good performer, and he looked good too. I thought I really liked the Patriot gimmick. I didn't necessarily like his tag team partners with him like here, but
did you always hate Buff Bagwell, or is that just a recent development?
that's just a recent development.
Okay.
Here's the deal. Okay.
Okay.
You are my buddy.
Yeah.
You are my friend. Okay.
Well, I appreciate that. I consider you
okay.
a friend as well.
Thank you. So if you fuck with my friend as it relates to StarCast.
Oh, listen, by the way, I don't care. Buff Bagwell's a nice person. Listen, we've had a lot of fun here on the show. And yeah, there was once upon a time probably a misunderstanding. Bygones be bygones. Life's too short. Who gives a shit? I don't want to bury that guy. Listen, we had fun here talking about the show. This is entertainment, folks. This is ha. If you're an independent promoter and you have an opportunity to do something with Buff Bagwell and you think he'll do well by your show, then you should roll the dice and book him. And I bet you have a great experience, because my experience is clearly in the minority. He's working every single weekend. So I don't want us to hurt that dude's opportunity to earn an income.
Wow. Did you go to church this weekend?
No, I just,
but you are awfully forgiving.
No, listen,
and
here's the thing. I didn't care immediately, but it became a funny bit here on the show. But like, enough people have talked about it in a real way where I'm like, man, we might actually be fucking with this dude's income. I don't really want to do that. Like, you're not really going to have sex with Francine. Like there's just a lot of bits here. No, you're definitely not, because her husband would fucking murder you. But it's just a funny ha on the show. And I don't want anybody to, think, oh, we can't bring him in. No, please do. And I bet you'll have a great experience.
I agree. And,
but I mean, thank you for coming to my defense and saying, fuck him, but not necessary.
Yeah. Well, you're teaching me a lesson here, and the lesson is don't hold grudges.
Well, I mean, the deal is when you do, it only affects you. You're going to walk around being negative. They don't even know. Right. It's sort of like if you have somebody who's struggling with addiction in your life and you're like, really, really trying to focus on fixing it or whatever, like it's going to get you sick too. So do your best and love them from a distance.
You have taught me a lot about life. You have taught me a lot about life.
Well, I know I've taught you how to have a good night's sleep and a rock hard cock. Thanks to our friends at Purple Mattress and Blue Chew. Now I can beat it to sleep and wake up feeling refreshed and drained.
Hey, so when we go to Philadelphia, as you may imagine, I sent Francine a text.
Oh no.
Yeah, I did. I mean, Francine and I have become buddies, and we.
And now she's
I sent her
pregnant.
Would you hang on a second? Can I finish this thought with that? So anyway, I called. I mean, I sent her a text, and I said, "Hey, while we are in Philadelphia, you are welcome to come to the show." And of course, she very quickly said, "No, thanks. I've got my child and my mom I've got to deal with. I won't be able to come." And I got to thinking, she probably would have come, but I've probably creeped her out.
Yep.
So sorry about that.
In fairness, you're not used to women coming.
Paul, oh wow, that was a pretty good pickup by Bagwell.
I mean, seriously, you were just probably like, another woman in my life didn't come. Just a Wednesday.
But I do love her. God, I love her.
You're going to have to ratchet some of this back, dude.
What?
Look, when I'm telling you, that her husband's going to kill you, I'm just trying to get you to, ixnay the creeper,
Okay.
And you just, you can't help yourself.
Okay. I won't talk about Francine and her wonderful boobs again.
I feel like you would fuck it up anyway.
Really?
I feel like you would take her to you'd be like, well, let's go to dinner. And then she would eventually say, okay. And then once she came around and said, okay, here's how that conversation would go. Where would you like to go, sweetheart? And she would say what every woman ever says. I don't care. Whatever you like, whatever you want. What do you think? And so it's on you. And you'd probably take her to somewhere like fucking Golden Corral. Cause you're like, I don't know what she wants, but they've got everything. Horrible. I mean, first of all, if there's a sneeze guard, you shouldn't take her there, but that's all there are. It's the Sneeze Guard Express. So then you go and, I think, she makes her plate and she's probably got like a crab leg and some chocolate sauce and some rice and a hamburger steak and some yams. And as she starts to dig in and you're like, well, that's an interesting combination. You would be like, oh, I got to make light conversation here. How do I get a dialogue going? But I'm kind of nervous. I don't want to say the wrong thing. And you would just blurt out, can I smell your butthole? And then that'd be the end.
Sounds like a great night to me.
Can I smell your butthole?
My favorite part is Sneeze Guard Express.
Dude, that's true. Fuck Golden Corral. Unless they're one of our sponsors, at which time, boy, the only thing I love more than Golden Corral is sleeping it off after a food coma in my purple mattress.
If you've had a food coma and then you walk outside and see Alabama Doink wrestling in your parking lot, you'll need a sleep.
And you know what Lois loves? Lois loves that chocolate fountain. She loves it so much that I know when she goes back for trip number 3, it's time to pop a Blue Chew, because she's going to be happy.
Okay. For you guys on social media, we're at 3217 right now, full arm drag and a twist from Marcus Alexander Bagwell. We're not talking enough about this match, but
no, we're not, because it sucks. It wasn't. It's 2.25 stars, and Romo and Orndorff, pretty wonderful. They're gonna win, baby.
Well, good. We thought they looked good, which they did, and we thought they were pretty good wrestlers, which they are.
Can I give you the best recap Meltzer ever wrote?
Yeah.
2 average teams in another average match. This was tons better than their match in Oakland last week, although so was every other match this year. There were some good spots, some slow spots, and a few missed spots. Bagwell was worked on most of the way. He never did make the hot tag, and it wound up a 4-way with Bagwell doing the fisherman suplex on Orndorff. But with the ref taking the Patriot back to the corner, Romo came off the top with a high elbow drop, and Orndorff rolled over for the pin. So I just love it was tons better than their match last week in Oakland, although so was every other match this year.
Dave was a surly little prick back in 1994, wasn't he?
Well, I don't know. You said I was too, and you didn't even know me.
Well, I can only imagine, because you've grown up to be a surly prick at times.
That's hurtful.
Well, look it. You are, but in a loving way. I'm saying that in a loving way. Into the ropes they go, foot to the face, down goes Bagwell. Paul Roman cover him, big elbow drop, but he didn't cover him. Why didn't he cover him, Excalibur? Conrad. 1, 2.
Did you just call me Excalibur?
Yeah, I was in full dynamite mode there. Sorry.
God damn. We're just going to talk about, let's just rename the show. Monday Morning Dynamite.
It's not.
Wait.
It's not. Fuck. I'll get Schiavone, stop talking about that current shit. I only want to talk about stuff that happened years ago. Well, we're watching Halloween Havoc 1994, and I just happened to slip in AEW Dynamite. So fucking deal with it.
That's how I feel. You ain't got to get hot about it.
Wow, great drop kick by Roma, and he knew it. Did he ever know it? Holy shit. Fuck, he is over celebrating, man.
So let's talk about, the sort of mood coming into this show. I know it was a hot topic, because I believe the situation was Ric Flair wanted a new contract before he would do this retirement match. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
What can you tell us?
But I do remember he wanted a new contract. I don't remember what the upshot was, but I do believe this was the beginning of, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe this was the downfall of Rick and Eric's relationship. This was the beginning of it. You know, and look, everybody that every boss that Rick worked for, and I can't speak for Jim Crockett, but I can speak for Jim Hurd, and I every boss that Rick worked for had a tumultuous relationship with Rick. It's not blaming Rick for anything. It's just that Rick was a big star, and Rick had a lot of demands, as would Hulk Hogan, as would Sting. So I believe this was, you know, because this was the beginning of Eric's tenure as, I mean, he was just Eric Bischoff. And so this was the beginning of, I feel, problems that they had between each other. What do you know about it?
I don't know anything about it. I just know that he wanted a new contract, and I think Bischoff felt like they needed to do something special to pull the big pay-per-view number here. Meltzer was writing a lot at the time that there was a lot riding on the success of these Hogan pay-per-views,
Right.
because they had, you know, committed themselves to a big contract. So these had to do well. And I'm sure Bischoff thinking, man, in order to keep this train rolling, I got to hit a number. We need
Right.
to up the stakes. If you've listened to 83 Weeks, you know that Eric is all about stakes, and what bigger than a retirement match. And let's not forget, although Hogan Flair at this point seems like old hat, a few years prior to this, it was a dream match on the cover of every Apter magazine for a decade. I mean, these are the two biggest stars of the 1980s by a wide margin. And when the WWF had an opportunity to put this match together in 1992, they didn't, at least not at WrestleMania, where most folks thought they should. So Bischoff doubled down on that and made a mint. I mean, the most successful pay-per-view in WCW history that July. So it makes sense to do a rematch, but you don't just want to do it to do it. You got to up the stakes. So let's make it a heated issue, and let's make it a retirement match. And oh, by the way, let's put it in a cage. So he's pulling out all the stops, but I'm sure Rick, being Rick, felt like, if I'm going to do that and I'm going to quote unquote retire on TV, I need to be compensated. And I'll tell you, I know that, you know, I'm going to get some shit for this, but I kind of agree. Like, you know, if they're asking you to do something that effectively ends your career on TV, why would you not look for a commitment?
Well, I think it goes deeper than that. I think the fact that Hogan was brought in with such a big contract and such leeway as far as his character and his angles are concerned in his final say, that I think that also had Rick thinking of a new contract as well.
Well,
more than just a retirement match.
You know that if the other guy in the ring with you makes more money than you, can call his own shot, you're probably not asking a lot to, I don't know.
Right. I get that.
By the way, you mentioned house shows. The WWF did that, and they did it to apparently, results in towns like LA, back in the WWF. But you guys have them run a series of Hogan Flair house shows in Salt Lake and in Oakland and in Anaheim. Salt Lake only drew 4,300, and it's only a $59,000 gate. Oakland draws 4,000, and it's a $61,000 gate. Anaheim was 2,400, which has to be considered a disaster for 45,000 bucks. So not necessarily killing it, but tons of bad press, believe it or not, when they were in Salt Lake City, because apparently a lot of the guys, including Hulk Hogan, got a restaurant to stay open late so they could all come in and eat without being bothered. And then they left without paying the bill.
Whoa.
So the local media just fucking crucified them.
As well they should have.
Like, somebody from the restaurant had to figure out where the wrestlers were staying, go to the hotel, and figure out how to get paid.
All right. Speaking of not paying your bills, Rick, were you involved in not? Well, let's take a look at the woman to my side. We'll take a look at her boobs. Take a look at her shaking her ass around. The fact is, Rick, after the show's over, are you going to plug Sister Sherry?
This is all you, baby.
Gene, let me say this. Woo! That after this show, I'm going to woo. And then this girl to my woo, or this girl to my right going, woo. That's me, Gene. Woo! Because I'm the greatest. Woo! Limousine riding, jet flying, son of a gun. Woo! Would you quit looking at her boobs, Gene? Woo! And look at me. I'm doing this interview, and she cannot stay still. One person may think, a couple people may think, a lot of people may think that she's on something because she can't stay still. Woo! Later on the night, she's going to be on something. She's going to be on Space Mountain. Woo! Space Mountain, because I'm a wheeling dealing, jet flying, son of a gun. Woo! And I'm going to beat Hulk Hogan. Woo! And here's the deal, Bischoff. I want a new contract. Don't give me a new contract. I'm not going to put him over. That's right. Gene, would you look at me when I'm talking and quit looking at the girl to my right? Gene is looking at your boobs. She keeps shaking the boobs. Why wouldn't he look? She's got to be drugged out of her mind here, Conrad. Don't you think she is?
No.
Okay.
She's playing a
She
character.
can't say. She's really?
Well, she's supposed to do. Listen, she was always a ball of energy on these promos. Like, she's just trying to be, motion creates emotion. I don't think she was like that in the front seat of the Mercury, was she?
Front seat of the Mercury?
Yeah, I was just thinking of those big old cars y'all used to rent back in the day. Like, top guy's got a Cadillac or a town car, but if you weren't a top guy, then you probably got like one of those big old grandma cars.
Yeah. You know what? You're right about Sherry. I was trying to be funny here because her habits were well known, but you're right about her ball of energy. Maybe one of the hardest working girls in the business. Really? Woo! 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 Speaking of woos, let's go back to the ring and Tony and Bobby Heenan. All right. Thank you very much. Mean Gene, Bobby the Brain Heenan. That coat sucks.
Bobby the Brain Heenan, man, when you look back, me and you talked about this before, I think, but I think he's on my Mount Rushmore. Like
Mount Rushmore of what?
Of wrestling. Like, let's just say that if it's not restricted to just wrestlers and it's just personalities.
Star power, maybe?
Well, no, just saying what a utility player he was. If you need him to be a commentator, you need him to be a manager, whatever you need him to do, he did.
Back in the day,
he got over.
Back in the day, you needed him to take a bump.
Yeah, exactly. I just think like if you had a Mount Rushmore and there's one for there's one head for every facet of the business. If you could pick one wrestler and one promoter and one manager and one commentator, like Bobby Heenan's on it. Greatest manager of all time, man.
Yes, he is. No argument on this end.
What do you think of this Dave Sullivan shit?
Yeah. I think Kevin Sullivan being, basically in charge here, of the booking. I think they did as well as they could do with this character. They tried to make a story out of it that Dave was his brother and Dave was stupid and Dave was a Hogan fan and he wasn't going to take it anymore from his bully older brother. I didn't have a problem with the angle in the grand scheme of things, trying to make Dave Evad, what was he called before that? The Eliminator, the something or another. I think it's the best thing they could have done with that character. So I agree with it. Brother versus brother now, Conrad. By the way, for you guys and girls who are on with us online, it's 4509 10 11. Kevin.
Coming out barking.
I know.
The Dave Sullivan that you were talking about earlier, you called him the Eliminator. It was actually the Equalizer.
The Equalizer. Thank you. Because he wasn't doing us any good. And this was a storyline. You may not like the storyline. You may think, oh, it's a shitty storyline, but it was at least a storyline. This match had a purpose, and I've always been for that. And it had more purpose than any type of match that Evad, Dave Sullivan, the Equalizer was involved in. Not only that, Dave Sullivan in real life was a great kid. Really loved the business and really wanted to do well. And you got that feeling backstage that you just wanted to, well, those two kids are bored out of their fucking mind.
Because they're not watching Hulk Hogan. They're watching a Hulk Hogan fan wrestle the devil. Or as Kevin Nash called him, Little Napoleon.
Not a bad story. That fan's excited. Kind of.
That kid has some Legos.
So there. And of course we go to a sign when the match starts.
Look at that fucking robe. Wonder where that robe is right now.
I don't know, but I don't know.
We need it for live shows. I need you to wear it.
That would be cool. That would be cool if I could find it.
Well, we need one with Francine airbrushed on the back.
Speaking of live shows, StarCast 4 is coming up. Yep.
Oh, I was going to go with our live show. Me and you and Jim Ross on stage in Zany's supershowlive.com in Nashville right after AEW. Talk about a fun wrestling day. Go see Dynamite, and then right after go a few blocks up the road and bam, you're at Zany's, and one by one, all of your youthful wrestling stories will unfold in front of you with a well lubricated Jim Ross and Tony Schiavone. It's going to be Moscow Mule City that night.
I may have a pina colada.
Do you think they do frozen drinks at Zany's? They might.
They might. I'll bring my own blender.
I'm sure JR will have, Kanye, you got to have pear vodka, you see, not just regular vodka. It's got to be pear. But if you get a pear vodka, sassafras, and you get ginger beer, a little lime juice, and a copper mug, it's a goddamn quality drink. And trust me on this, I'm an expert. You're not an expert. I'm an expert. Did you hear Grillin' JR this past week?
No.
Woo. Go out of your way to check that out.
Okay.
He was, woo. Anyway, come see Tony and Jim Ross. November 13th, Nashville. Supershowlive.com is where to pick up your tickets. We promoted it on Grillin' JR, and I mentioned that, hey, you never know who might stop by from AEW. It'll be right after the show. I bet a few of the boys are going to roll through. I had multiple members of the AEW roster text me and say, hey, just listen to JR show. Count us in. We're coming. So AEW is going to be well represented. What a fun night. Stories you can't tell here on the podcast. It will not be recorded. It will not air anywhere else. Stories just for the house that we can't tell here. Supershowlive.com, November 13th.
Can't wait, because I have had such a blast working with Jim again. I have. I can't begin to tell you how much fun it's been being able to sit beside him and work with him again.
Dude, seriously, go listen to last week's Grillin' JR.
Okay.
This dude, his plane was delayed, and then they lost his bag.
Oh my God.
And then he had to go to the baggage claim, the baggage office, fill out paperwork. As he's talking to the lady about filling out the paperwork for his bag, he casually mentions, boy, I've had a couple of rough weeks here with you guys on American. And she said, really? And he said, yeah, my flight last week was this, and this week it was that. And she said, oh, so you travel all the time. What do you do for a living? And he said, I work for the new wrestling company, AEW. Used to work for WWE, but now I'm on TNT's on Wednesday nights. with this new wrestling promotion called AEW.
Uh-huh.
And she said something like, "Oh God, do you like that?" And this motherfucker cut a promo. I'm talking about monumental.
I bet he did.
You got to go listen. Okay. And hang in there until I asked him about Johnny Ace.
Okay.
And he was just in the right mood, and he came out with both shovels, son. It was, I was like, I don't even have to do anything. I'm just pressing record and getting out of the way.
All right. Oh God. He's too much, man. He's the most entertaining he is one of the most entertaining fuckers ever. Oh.
No, you said I was earlier. Figure it out. What are you doing?
I said one of the.
Thank you.
Which means there's more than one. All right. Jesus.
Why are you so honoring?
Stop wearing your feelings on your fucking sleeve there, nature boy.
Maybe it's because I didn't get a good sleep last night. And Lord knows I should have just went downstairs and slept on my brand new purple mattress.
Oh God. Hey, meanwhile, these two are just slugging it out at ringside, man, back and forth and outside, and Dave and Kevin. And like my buddy Ray says, this is a family feud. I'm just reading the closed captioning here.
I wish they would have told the story that these guys were like father son.
Oh, you'd rather instead of brothers?
They're both Sullivan, right?
Right.
But one guy, well, he's a little bigger than the other one.
Right.
Do you think Kevin Sullivan wore those trunks to the beach? Like, I feel like this is the way Kevin Sullivan just walked around all the time in real life.
No, I think he wore those trunks because he knew we were talking about purple mattresses.
Jesus.
Take a look, Conrad, at this crowd, would you?
A capacity crowd on hand here to see the Nature Boy retire. And of course, Tony, we haven't talked about this capacity crowd, so let's do it now. We've got 8,595 paid here at Detroit's Joe Louis Arena. It's a few hundred less than Bash in Orlando, but it was well under the company's record paid house, which happened back in 1989 at the Baltimore Great American Bash with Flair and Funk on top. That was 12,300 fans there, but the gate, because of highly scaled tickets, was 189. Just shy of that all-time record, 190 grand. So even though there's a lot less people, there's only $1,000 less coming in at the gate. And we've got 14,000 people here in the building. So I'll let you do the math. Only 8,500 of these slap dicks actually paid, but we could have fit a lot more in there. We've got 21,000 seats in this arena. We just blocked off the upper deck, as you can see.
Holy fucking shit. You should be a promoter. You got them numbers down there, buddy. I got lost. You lost me at 8,000.
8,500 motherfuckers here paying, 200 and, no, my apologies, paying 189,000. By the way, in this same era, your boy,
which one?
Jacques Rougeau, ran a retirement show for himself in Montreal.
Yeah.
18,500 people there.
My God.
Let's run through that. Jacques Rougeau's retirement show the same month. 18,500. Ric Flair's retirement show, 8,500.
Okay. Let me get this straight now. What TV did Jacques Rougeau have to promote that?
None.
Amazing. That is an amazing story. And what,
the name of the show was All In. No, just kidding. How about this story that we're seeing here unfold? Arn Anderson and Dustin Rhodes, the stud stable. Now you see Terry Funk being drug over to cover Dustin.
And they're going to the typical Anderson gimmick.
Man, I love this look for Haku. I wish Haku did this look instead for the rest of his career.
Yeah.
I mean, he looks like a fucking
like what he is.
A movie villain.
That's right. I'm surprised. He almost kind of looks like what Dave Bautista looked like in the James Bond movie. Little bit of the bubbly.
Oh, fuck off with that. Fuck off with that.
What? Well, it was. They were pouring champagne on him. They were. Oh, I get it. Well, have a potential for a good match here. Have a potential for a great match here. Two guys who can work. Pretty good story here. Arn Anderson turning on Dustin Rhodes. Colonel Parker and Ming in tow. So with that in mind, Conrad, my good friend, longtime pal, what did Dave Meltzer say about this match?
3.25 stars, 9 minutes, 50 seconds. Match was solid from start to finish, although they didn't have a lot of heat at the beginning. It slowed in the middle until Rhodes took the bump of the show way over the top rope, clearing the ring steps onto the floor. The last 4 minutes were very good with them brawling back and forth. Finish saw Anderson go for a pin using the ropes, but he was caught by the ref, and while he was off balance, Rhodes cradled him. After the match, Anderson gave Rhodes a clothesline and a DDT, and Anderson, attacking Rhodes after the match, got a baby face pop from the crowd. So the Dave Sullivan, Kevin Sullivan match was dud.
Right.
Meltzer would say, as bad as this was better than their match last week because Dave was on offense less. Forgetting about work rate, this Dave Sullivan character, as much as people deservedly praise how great he is in the role, is the most not over pushed character that should have been over I ever seen. The crowd actually cheered when Kevin suckered him. Even though Hogan has all the charisma to pull it off, Dave doesn't, and people reject the force feeding. Kevin was stiff on offense, but when Dave made the comeback, it was a disaster.
Interesting. His line about not over but should be is right on that. Man, Dustin was a great, well, and he still is, but back in this era, Kid was something else, man. Great being able to work with him again as well. So tell me, how's Arn's podcast? Oh my God, it's the Hitman, Thomas Hearns. How's Arn's podcast going?
Oh, it's great, man.
You doing a great job with it?
Oh man, it's great. We're having a good time.
Yeah. He's being funny, irreverent, being Marty Lundy.
You know, he's, I think he's settling into it. You know, the first episode was just about his travels, you know, getting into the business and a brief overview of his indies on his way to signing and joining, you know, Mid-Atlantic and Jim Crockett Promotions. And the second episode was about leaving Crockett to go work for the WWF. And, the third episode was all about his feud with the Nature Boy Ric Flair in 1995. And this week it's Q&A. It's hashtag Ask Arn Anything.
Oh, very cool.
Next week we'll talk about when Flair returned from his feud with Bischoff, and it was a big night on Nitro. They introduced Dean as one of the horsemen, and we got to see the little real life Ric Flair, Eric Bischoff thing just for a minute, which was fun. And coming up, man, we got lots of interesting stuff. And I know there's been a lot of questions about, hey, will we or won't we discuss the Sid incident? And we absolutely will. So it's been different from the other pods because, you know, we're talking about in depth, you know, stuff with one of the boys, not someone who worked in the office or was behind the desk, but somebody who was on the road and taking bumps. And I think a lot of fans have really appreciated him explaining why you did the quote unquote workers handshake and why you went and spoke to everyone every day in the locker room, and some of the old traditions of wrestling that maybe fans don't understand or ridicule. Arn has done a phenomenal job explaining.
Which brings me to this point. Tell me, in your dealings with Arn and your, well, look at these kids, man. These two guys. When I watch these two, you know what I think about wrestling and about being able to wrestle?
What?
You can either do it or you can't. You either got it or you don't. I don't think any practicing. I don't think any power planning. I don't think any NXT thing can get you over. You can either do it or you can't, and you can train all that you want. It's just you got to have it in you. And Arn Anderson did, and Dustin Rhodes did and does, and you just know it. I mean, that's what I think about that. Anyway, back to my original point. Smart me up on this because, my God, I've been in the business for, 30 years? But I still don't know about the wrestler handshake, how that came to be. I know what it is, and I've done it, and I've pissed people off in real life with doing it. What's the genesis of it?
It was a way to signify to the other performers that I'm going to take care of you out there. You can trust me with your body. I'm safe. I'm not going to hurt you.
Got you.
You know, that type of deal.
All right.
Arn does a much better job explaining it. I'll send you a link, but if you want to hear this podcast, just go search for Arn, ARN, anywhere you enjoy podcasts, or you can see about all the topics and things like that on social media at The Arn Show. The name of the show is not The Arn Show. The name of the show is Arn, ARN, but our Twitter handle is at The Arn Show.
So with that in mind, I can tell you that my experience now backstage in AEW has been that the wrestler handshake is going the way of the dinosaur, I think.
Yeah. This modern era doesn't do it.
Right.
You know, there's lots of traditions in wrestling that people are sort of getting away from. Like, once upon a time, you had to go shake everybody's hand and introduce yourself and say hello every single day, even if you just saw them yesterday. And when you shook their hand, you did it with the wrestler handshake, and nobody does that anymore.
Well, I still do it. But of course, I'm not going to hurt anybody.
Well, you could on commentary, you know, the way you've been burying people and not getting them over and things like that.
Oh, would you please stop that?
What?
I'm not going to hurt anybody unless I take some Blue Chew.
Well, I know definitely you wouldn't hurt anybody then. But I'm just saying you've killed the business, you know?
I didn't kill the motherfucking business, and you need to get that out of your verbiage.
What do you mean? Like, every company you've worked for has went out of business.
No, they haven't. They haven't.
Which ones haven't?
Georgia Bulldogs.
Oh no, I'm out in wrestling.
Atlanta Braves.
I'm talking about wrestling companies. You've killed every wrestling company you've ever worked
I have
for.
not killed every wrestling company I worked for.
Okay. Is WCW around?
No, it was sold.
How about Jim Crockett Promotions?
It was sold.
All right. So both of them, massive losses, sold, you know, on the courthouse steps. What about TNA?
Didn't work for them. Well, a couple of days of it.
There you go. See, that's all it took to inject that poison in, and then done.
You are so full of. You're so motherfucking wrong.
When Court Bauer brought you back, I slid in his DMs and I said, "You really need to think about this." And he's like, "LOL." And I'm like, "I'm just saying, I know on paper it sounds like a good idea. I'm sure Jim Crockett and Ted Turner can tell you differently."
Did we just see the bump of the night? Over the steps, or is it going to get ready to come? Wow.
In this era, by the way, you guys revived the WCW magazine and you were using a company from Germany to publish it. Whose fucking idea was that?
Well, I guess it was Eric Bischoff's, wasn't it? No, I'll tell you whose idea it was. It was probably Sharon Cedillo's.
Let's talk about where business is.
All right.
Your average attendance in September of 1993. Do you want to guess? For your
average attendance in 93
for WCW shows, average number of people in the building for a WCW show, September of 93.
1,500.
640.
Yikes.
But don't worry. That was 93. We're talking about 94. Guess what it was in September of 94?
It was
Hulk Hogan's
1800.
here. Hulk Hogan's here.
1800.
450.
Oh my God.
Every time you, opened the doors, flew everybody in, paid for the rental cars, paid for the hotels, paid for the security, promoted it, ran ads in the local market. You got to recoup all that on your gates. You sold your tickets. Guess what your average gate was in September of 94?
50,000.
3,200.
Well, what's that telling you there, Conrad?
That Tony Schiavone is in town.
No, it's telling you this is a television business anymore. It's not an arena show business. Arena shows are gone.
Listen, I'm an expert.
Tony Schiavone's in town. Hey, going to go to the wrestling show tonight? No, why? Because that goddamn Tony Schiavone's still on TV.
That way, you know what? They should have went live. Then they wouldn't have had to hear you, The trouble is when you watch on TV, but if you go in person, you don't hear it.
Well, I'm going to fucking fool them because I'm going to show up as a ring announcer. How about that? Unannounced.
Why don't we, we've talked about this before, but at football games, if you're in person and you go to the Alabama game, you can visit a kiosk and get one of those little earpieces and throw the earpiece in. And so then you can hear the radio broadcast while you're in the stands.
Right.
It really adds a lot to the presentation because you lose that when you're watching in the stands. Sometimes you don't know, like, hey, what's happening or who's hurt or what happened on that play or what are they reviewing or whatever. But if you've got this earpiece, you can sort of figure it out. They need that for wrestling.
You're not the first one to say that to me. And I can't remember who the other one was, but in other words, you think that there should be an earpiece. There's a 1, 2, 3. How about that win? There should be like a way to hear JR Excalibur and myself if you go to the
crowd.
event.
Look at the crowd. They cheered Arn Anderson getting after Dustin.
Yeah. And why did they cheer on Anderson getting after Dustin? Because the Horsemen are still over. That's a good idea. But it takes a lot to be able to do that.
This is insanity.
What's insanity?
Just, Colonel Robert Parker, Haku.
Yeah.
What a cast of characters. Like in 1994, how would you explain to a normal person what Colonel Parker was? What would you say? Like, pretend I'm a non-wrestling person. It's October of 94. Explain Colonel Robert Parker but first, all right, let's get here with the Hulkamaniacs. I am here just moments before the epic retirement match, and what an encounter it's going to be. Inside of a steel cage, we've got Brother Brudi and Jimmy Hart, but most of all, we're here with the world champion, Hulk Hogan himself. A lot of hoopla here, Muhammad Ali ringside, and your career is on the line. Are you ready tonight, Hulkster? Are you ready to put your title on the line against Ric Flair?
Well, you know something, Mean Gene? The fact is that Brother Brudi, the old brother here back to me, to my right, has brought the weed. And Jimmy Hart has the belt. And I have the thermos. And I am the world heavyweight. I've come in to WCW here. I've come into WCW, and I've resurrected this company. This company was on its ass before I got here. And Eric Bischoff came to me and says, you want to come to work here? And I said, yes, I'll come to work here. But the fact is, I got to have final say on my character. And when I say that doesn't work for me, brother, I don't mean that type of pot. I mean that one time I, God bless his soul, picked up the giant and slammed him in front of 93,000 people. So I'll come in here to WCW and we'll do house shows of 400 people. But I may have it up to 500 people by the time 1995 comes around.
Well, Hogan, you did that body slam 7 years ago and you've talked about it ever since. Do you think you'll ever do anything of any significance here in WCW that could ever equal the thrill of slamming Andre at WrestleMania?
Yes, I will. Every 2 weeks when that paycheck comes to my house, that'll be the biggest thrill that I have, because I'll be making more money than any of these slapdicks here combined in this show, because I'm Hulk Hogan and I've earned it. Did I ever tell you about the time I picked up Andre the Giant, God bless his soul, in front of 93,000 people and slammed him down? That was at WrestleMania 3, the biggest house ever. The big pythons picked him up, and I think I've already said that earlier in this interview, so never mind. Ric Flair, I'm going to retire you here tonight, and then I'm going to turn heel in about 2 years from now, and then in about 4 years from there, we're going to retire this company. Why? Because they're going to bring in Vince Russo. He's going to completely fuck up things, and we're going to go out of business. Had they kept me in the yellow and the red all these years, we would still be in business.
Well, that still remains to be seen, but I'll tell you this, if you're going to run your mouth about Russo, he's definitely going to have some things to say about you on Twitter, bro. He's going to make some paintings. It's not going to be good for you, Mr. Hulkster. And Jimmy, he knows a thing or two about not any good for you. He found out about the beans and taters.
Well, I really am mad now. I'm going to point over here to my brother and I'm going to say, give me a joint, roll it up really good, and we're going to go out. Did I ever tell you the story about when I took Andre the Giant, picked him up, God bless his soul, and slammed him in front of 93,000? I think I told you that story earlier. Okay, Ric Flair in the cage. I'm going to retire his ass. And what you going to do when Hulk Hogan runs wild on you?
All right, stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen, for the world title match.
All right, let's go back to good-looking Tony Schiavone and Bobby the Brain Heenan in a neck brace. What the fuck?
What do you mean, what the fuck? I'm out here with this sequin jacket and this little baby watch, and of course I've got my pinky rings on, and I just have one pinky ring. No, I have two. They're bookends, you see. And one of these pinky rings says BH on it, and I know that's inspired you, Tony. And now you've been working with a jeweler to place a custom order for a pinky ring yourself that says SDD.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell everyone what SDD stands for?
It stands for suck dis dick, and that's what I can tell you, Heenan. Suck dis dick. That's right. Let's go to the ring. No, we're going to go to a package. Oh, boy. Look at this cast of characters, would you?
Can you imagine what's going on in the ring right here? You got Nick Bockwinkel, Ricky Steamboat, and Steve Austin. At the time, people knew that two of these guys were absolute all-time legends, Steamboat and Bockwinkel. But nobody knew what Steve Austin was going to be. They thought he was going to be a big deal, but nobody could have ever predicted that he would be a bigger star than everyone in the building times 10.
I know. And adding to that, the fact is that we were going to have him do the job to Hacksaw Jim Duggan here. What in the world were we thinking? By the way, for you people online, our time code is 1-1348 49 50 51. But we like to do this show to where you can watch along if you want. If not, if you're driving, if you're in your car, if you're in your truck, you want to listen to us, listen. A lot of people listen to podcasts when they're stuck in traffic. You can still listen to it. I'm a great American. God bless America. Ricky, hang on to me. I'm getting ready to do a fucking bump. One of the more likable people ever in wrestling, I would think. Don't you agree?
How about these Bockwinkel glasses?
How about Bockwinkel?
I feel like the Bockwinkel glasses, by the way, this is from Fall Brawl. This is the month prior. And Hacksaw Jim Duggan just won the United States Championship from Steve Austin in seconds.
Yikes.
In hindsight,
What were we doing?
One of the top 10 dumbest title switches ever.
Yeah. I think now that we look back on it here in 2019, yeah, it was, considering how much do you think that he being Hogan's friend had to do with that?
a lot. Here's what's interesting. Renegade beats Arn Anderson for the TV title in this era.
Yeah.
And Duggan beats Steve Austin for the U.S. title. Also, little Easter egg that's kind of fun when you think about how it came to be. The tombstones that are part of the set design here for Halloween Havoc, one of them says Crockett. Now, a lot of people would say, oh, that's shitty. What a shot. But the reality is, one of the guys, if not the key guy in helping put together the set design here, David Crockett.
That's right.
So he has a sense of humor.
Sure he does. And he gets it. And he had a job and he worked hard at it. And,
How about Jim Crockett? Have we talked about that?
we haven't.
You know, tell everybody.
Jim Crockett has come to StarCast.
When was the last time you saw Jim Crockett make a personal appearance?
Probably 6 years ago.
At a
But now wait a minute. That's not a wrestling appearance. That was a baseball appearance.
Okay, so a wrestling personal appearance.
I've never seen him make one.
Yep, this is the first one.
Yeah. He made an appearance at the new Charlotte baseball park because they were honoring the family because they were longtime owners of the baseball club in Charlotte. So the whole family came out and received a plaque. And that's when I saw him. That's the last time I saw him. But yeah, Jim Crockett has never made a wrestling appearance, but he will coming up in Baltimore, November 7th to the 9th to the 10th.
Steve Austin, like a house of fire in here. Got the trunks on that say U.S. champ. He's on a mission to get his belt back. These guys are going to go 8 minutes and 2 seconds. And, what a fuck finish it's going to be. It's going to be a DQ for a backdrop over the top rope.
Oh, really?
I mean, what the fuck on pay-per-view too?
That old school backdrop over the,
It's terrible.
Yeah, it is.
Tony, I've been meaning to ask you something here.
Oh my God.
What?
Well, when you set up questions like that, sometimes you never know what's going to happen.
Well,
But go ahead. We're friends. We've been doing this long enough. We're in our third season, if you will, but go ahead.
We're rounding the bases and we're almost into Thanksgiving territory.
Right.
And when I think about Thanksgiving, I think about turkeys. And,
Okay.
and as a kid, I'm sure you had to do this too in school or, you know, whatever. There was an activity in your childhood where you had to make what's commonly referred to as a hand turkey.
Now, a hand. Yes, you would take your hand
And trace it.
and trace it. Right.
And we call that a hand turkey.
A hand turkey. Okay. I didn't know what you called that, but thank you. Hand turkey.
I mean, you know what I mean though, right? A hand turkey.
Yeah. Hand and turkey. I got it.
So here's what I'm suggesting. I think for our friends at Blue Chew and for our Patreon,
All right.
you should draw a hand turkey with your penis. So instead of putting your hand down and tracing your hand and making it into a turkey, we should do it with your twig and berries. We should do it with your frankenbeans.
That would be awfully difficult to do.
Well, I challenged great friend of the show, Cassio Kid, to do this recently,
Oh my God.
and he did it.
Yeah, because he's a fucking idiot.
Here's the rib. He says it didn't look like a hand turkey. It looked like a miniature pumpkin because it was sort of roundish, oblong, oval shaped
With a tiny stem
with
coming out of
with
it.
a little tiny stem. And I just think it would be cool if we started to get like, we could make this our new thing in wrestling.
No, we
Just
couldn't.
hand turkeys of all the wrestler dicks
Yeah,
and then make them shirts at lowestrules.com.
We have officially run out of shit to talk about here on what happened when.
Wait, hand turkey dicks? You know, I'm getting over hand turkeys. I'm telling you, there will be a hand turkey shirt on loisrules.com before next week's show airs.
And turkey dicks.
What would be great is, we could put a little 2x4 in one of them's hand. We know that's Hacksaw's dick. We could put 2 beers in one of the hand turkeys. We know that's Steve Austin. We could put one with a yellow bandana on. We know that's the Hulkster. Put a robe on one of them. That's Flair. Hand turkey dicks.
And turkey dicks.
What do you think? Are you in just in time for Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I don't know. Don't let Lois know that. Don't let Lois know about that verbiage. She'll look at me. She'll say, "Would you stop shaking that hand turkey dick at me?"
Here's the thing. Lois is really the low-key inspiration because she had a nickname for one of her meals that she would prepare for the children.
Right. Yeah. Donkey dicks.
And tell everybody exactly what a donkey dick is.
It is a kielbasa.
That's not even a word.
Okay. What kielbasa?
There you go.
Okay.
If you know the right way, why do you say it the wrong way?
I don't know. Why did I say Yeti
Okay.
at that building?
I thought you were
2
trying
years
to
later.
be entertaining. I got it. Hey, it wasn't 2 years later. It was the next year.
Oh, the next year. Oh,
Let me ask you, you know those little candies that have the candy shell, but on the inside it's peanut butter? It's not an M&M, but it's shaped like one, but it has peanut butter on the inside. What do you call those?
Reese's Pieces.
Why do some motherfuckers call that shit Reese's Pieces? Why? PCs ain't a word, motherfucker.
Feces is a word, but not PCs.
Where the fuck did PCs come? It just says pieces. Why are you saying it's Reese's Pieces? That fucking legitimately rhymes.
Can I ask you something?
Yes.
Do you know the name of a person that calls it PCs?
Yes. I know several.
Well, give me one so we can shame them right here on the show.
Cassio Kid.
Cassio Kid? Of course. Of course. Pumpkin dick.
Oh, God.
That pumpkin dick Cassio Kid calls it Reese's Pieces.
Reese's Pieces. That's you don't pronounce either word that way.
I'm going to text. You know what? I while we're getting on Cassio Kid, I watched an episode of Cassio's Cuts on YouTube.
Why?
That's right. I text you that, and that's exactly what you text me back. One word, why? It was one of the worst fucking things I'd ever seen in my life. Poor old Doug Markham sitting there like a fucking lug, and the only thing that saved that thing was Big Booty Judy looking as only as she can look. And they bring somebody sends them a cockroach in a fucking box, and they bring the fucking dog. I'm thinking, oh, well, I guess there's all forms of entertainment all around the world. Unfortunately, that was not one of them.
Let's process how desperate for content you must be to think, well, we'll just film Doug Markham. That'll get over.
Good God.
By the way, Doug Markham came over to my low-key Nitro party last week.
Did he really?
I had a host of friends in my basement theater last Wednesday night for Dynamite and NXT, and it was tremendous. So Markham comes in late, not complaining, just saying at that point he has to introduce himself to everyone, right?
Right.
Well, he missed a guy. And so then later, it's my AV guy who takes care of everything here at the house, and he's also a realtor and most importantly, a friend of mine. But he didn't know Doug because he's not one of my quote unquote wrestling friends. So he says, hey, Doug, I didn't meet you earlier, or I didn't introduce myself earlier. I'm Bo. Now remember, he started the sentence with, hey, Doug, I didn't get a chance to introduce myself earlier. I'm Bo. Nice to meet you. And Doug sticks his hand out and says, I'm Doug, man. That's when I knew. Fucking Markham is high.
I'm Doug, man.
Dude, he literally started the conversation with, hey, Doug.
Heard you DQ, Conrad.
Terrible. I'm Doug, man.
Reese's Pieces. I'm going to text that motherfucker right now.
Dude, that's not a way to, I mean, neither one of those words sound like that.
No, they don't.
Reese's Pieces. What
Is Cassio gonna be with us at Zany's?
I would love for him to, and I think he would like to. So maybe. Here's the situation though. That's going to be a super, super late night show.
Oh, that's right. And he's got to get up.
He's got to do radio here in town, and that's 2 hours away. So
yeah, he won't do it.
Maybe, but if he does, that next day is going to suck. He's going to be in there on like 3 hours sleep. But there's a chance because he really enjoys what we're doing.
Yeah. One thing about it is, and I hope that people who come to our shows feel the same way. We truly do have fun putting the shows on. And when you have fun, I think it comes across to people. And I think that you know what, Conrad, when I think about it, wait a minute. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here at the Joe Louis Arena, and there you can call the wrestling hot. What the fuck is he walking behind me for? He just lost. Well, 1-900-909-9900. Press option 2 if you think this finish sucked. Press option 3 if you think the guy that walking behind me is going to be a bigger star. Press option 4 if you want to kill yourself by watching this show. Press option 5 if you think our company's not going to last past the year 2001. Press option 6 if you run out of buttons to press. Right now, though, we've got to go bring out Sting. But before we bring out Sting, I think some dumb motherfucker's going to walk right in front of me right now. That's right. Don't you know there's a camera there, you dumb son of a bitch? Let's bring in the one, the only man with the blonde hair. This is Sting.
And he was fired up to introduce Sting right there.
Yeah, baby. Woo! That's right. Woo! That's right. Well, Sting, the word's out. You're going to be coming to StarCast 4, and you're going to be wearing the red, white, and blue face paint that you wore at that big show in Baltimore. Why don't you tell us all about it?
It's all you, baby.
All right. Well, Gene, Les, I'm going to wear the red, white, and blue face paint because my friend Conrad said, I'll pay you a lot of money to do it. And that'll be the only reason I do it, because I told Conrad I don't want to wear the red, white, and blue face paint because that doesn't work for me, brother. There you go. Red, white, and blue face paint. That's pretty fucking cool.
Hey, make that noise again. That was fun. Dude, that was cool. That sounds like you're,
I was gonna bring up a point. Turn around here, Brain. The point I was gonna bring up is that when you have fun, would you turn around here, you stupid motherfucker? When you have fun doing a wrestling show or even a stage show, then the fun that you're having is contagious, and the fans have fun, and they want to come back. And if you go back and you think about it, I have a revelation. Back in 2000 and 1999, 2000, and even the early part of 2001, we weren't having fun. The fans there weren't having fun. No one was having fun, and therefore the fun was not contagious. Fun is the word. Fun sells. Fun makes you want to come back. We weren't having fun. Right now we're having fun, but let's go to the videotape. Don't you agree with that, though?
I do. And look at Vader here with the baton.
Mm-hmm. Oh, this is when Ray was the guardian angel. Oh, he was rather large there as well. What'd you think of this guardian angel gimmick?
Piece of shit.
Well, I thought we could have, the guardian angels were legit.
No, listen, it was very topical at the time. This was
right.
An Eric Bischoff idea. You had seen a lot of good being done by this organization, and they were at the time all over daytime TV. Shows like Maury Povich and Montel and all those type of daytime talk shows. They've got, hardly going for the headbutt always tickles me. Cause I feel like when you finally get Francine up to your room drunk, that's the way you're going to get in it. You're just going to face plant. Just whoop.
Oh, God, Francine, I love you.
Harley is 79 years old. Just
I was thinking the same thing.
fuck it. I'm going over the top.
That fucking bump. Motherfucker.
So where are you at on hand turkeys? Are we doing this? Because if we put a crown on one of them, we can say that was Harley.
Okay, I'm going to be very honest with you as I can about if it's ever been on this podcast. I'm not putting my dick on a piece of construction paper and tracing around it. Okay.
All right. Hypothetically, if for science, and
You think this is chemistry class? What the fuck? Biology?
And entertainment. Just hang on.
Okay. When we're having fun, right?
When we're having fun. It's infectious, you said. Why don't, if I could convince, oh my God, is he really going to do this? What a great camera shot too. If I could get Francine to draw it for you. Also, all you got to do is put it on. She'll even bring the construction paper. You just get it ready and she'll have the pen and the construction paper and knock it out. Would that change your mind?
Yeah, no, it would not. Because I have a thing about giving a woman a sharp object near my dick.
We'll have her do it with a crayon. Wait, are you worried that she would try to do some sounding?
Sounding?
Yeah.
Is that what it's called? Sounding?
What, you don't know about sounding?
No, I don't. I've never heard of sounding.
It's where you put a rod up your urethra. And then,
okay, let's go to the ring. Hey, shit. Let's stop that line of thought right now. God. Can I tell you a story
about sounding?
About my urethra?
Yes. Please. This is the best transition in the history of our great sport. My urethra's better than ever now, thanks to Purple Mattress.
And especially when I elongate it, thanks to Blue Chew.
I have been, after years of abuse with Blue Chew. No, Blue Chew didn't hurt my body. It got me harder than I hurt my body. Can I tell you a story
about your urethra? Yes, please do.
I'm ready. Tell me.
Okay. When I, in 1995, actually about 5 months after this show, I had my major neck surgery. Actually, it was probably about 7 months after the show. May of 1995. Had my neck surgery, major surgery. It was a big deal. I was in surgery for a long time. And when I came out of recovery, I remember coming out of recovery. Now we're talking about, they had gone into my hip, taken out a part of a bone and sawed part of it was just a big thing. And so I was in this hard brace like Heenan is right now on this show. And I remember when I got in recovery, the only thing I remember Lois came in and she looked at me and the first thing out of my mouth was, "What is sticking in my dick?" And Lois says, "What do you mean?" I says, "My dick hurts."
You only knew the power of the dark side.
It was a catheter, which I'd never had before. So I remember telling the nurse that the catheter is much worse than neck surgery. Have you ever had a catheter in your urethra?
No.
It is the worst thing ever. It is the absolute worst thing ever. So if somebody ever says, "We got to put a catheter in," Conrad, say, "No, I'll just do some sounding instead." Worst thing ever.
What if Francine said, "All right, Tony, I'm in, but I'm in the sounding"?
Nope, I ain't doing it.
What if she like said, "What about my big boobs?" and showed them to you?
You mean she would show me her boobs, but I had to do the sounding?
Yeah. Well, I think what if she just, hey, I'm going to turn my head and let you finish, but
Wow.
I got to do some sounding.
All right. Meanwhile, let's go. Harley race on the outside.
So that's a yes. You're in.
Leon had something to say with,
realistically, these are two big badass motherfuckers here, and the match is pretty good for what it is. 2 3/4 stars. But this Guardian Angel version of Ray Traylor, it's a miss. And Meltzer agrees. He says Angel got no reaction coming out while Vader seemed to almost get a face pop. Maybe these Detroit folks are they're for the heels.
Yeah, the Detroit folks are for who's ever over.
Meltzer would say, really, Angel's character is almost too obnoxious to get over as a face.
Right.
He says this was a good match, but it was no different than the match they've had on television too many times. Do you think that guys would fall into traps where they just get into a routine and do the same thing?
Oh yeah. I mean, that's well documented because you go back to what you feel comfortable with. And that probably happens some today too, I would think. Ray could do some pretty good shit as a big guy though, man. Somebody had told me, and you probably probably know about this. Isn't his daughter, Ray's daughter, doing something?
Oh, really?
Yeah. She's got a foundation or something in memory of her dad. Someone had told me that. And that's all I remember. And that was just recently they said that. Because we were talking about Ray Traylor, and I was talking to this person, although I don't know who it was, sorry. And we were talking about what a great guy that Ray was, and he was a Georgia native, and he was Big Bubba, and Dusty found him, and I think Cody may have told me that story about her.
Huh.
Not sure. Because Cody and I have such great conversations. We really do. Oh, I know I'm talking about AEW again, but we do. No, stop it. As a shoot, sincerely. Have great conversations. Don't give that slurping noise to me.
I was drinking a water. I was thirsty.
Bullshit. I was drinking the water. Look, he's going to pick the big man up. Oh, fuck. Holy shit. Look at Harley. Oh, my God. Jesus Christ. He slammed that big fucker on him.
You know what I just realized?
What?
It's like almost about that time.
Okay, we gotta go.
No. I'm just saying, we got out of the habit because we've done a Q&A episode, and we did a Tony Returns to TNT episode. What? You're
not, you're going to make me, you want me to, you want, really?
Yeah. Okay. We're talking about Tony Reed's rap. I know what you're thinking. We're still doing it? Yes, we're still doing it.
That's what I'm thinking.
Why are you being like that?
So what song do we have to read today, Conrad?
Today, we've got Take That Shit to Trial. Or I'm sorry. Trial Time from The Last Mr. Big.
What?
Yeah.
That's actually a thing?
Yeah. I'm going to play a little bit of the real song just so you can get a flavor for it. This is a deep cut, and it's probably going to be rather difficult to find an instrumental version, but I just want you to be able to get like a flavor for what the song sounds like. You okay with that?
Yeah.
news center, KBD, to be released from. And I asked him, why
Man,
did you
get
do
the
the thing
camera out my
you did?
face and go home. You want to know what? I started selling back in 1986.
All right, so that gives you an idea
Yeah.
of the beat or whatever.
Yeah.
And you've got the lyrics.
Yeah.
I mean, are you nervous about this, or you feel like
No,
you're
I'm never nervous.
feel like you're out of practice?
No. I don't want people to feel ill of me.
Oh, you think people don't like you doing this?
No, I just think that. No. I don't want people to. Okay, let's go. Here we go. Ready?
You gotta let
I'm gonna get the beat wrong. I get it, but I'll do what I can. Oh, by the way, before we start, unless you, are we going to do karaoke at Starcast?
Absolutely.
Remember, we do 80s music and karaoke at Starcast. Unless you slip in a rap song.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Trial Time by the last Mr. Big.
I started selling dope back in 1986. I bought a Cadillac and then put them things on that bitch. The brains blowed out with the white leather seats. Fienders feeing for that butts because other shit is weak. I was only 17, had the neighborhood hooked. I have them stealing out their crib because my crack tastes like ribs. I'm up in the morning with the rest of these rookies. You out here selling them dimes, bitch. I'm out here selling them cookies. I'm flying out of town, getting them things for $12.5, $400 for an ounce, and $6.50 when it's dry. Pyrex dishes in the motherfucking kitchen. Word around town, Mr. Big got them chickens. That player bought a house for a small by the lake and gave his grandma a set of keys to the safe. Them jealous ass marks, ooh, that's a good line, and them hoes started hating to see my little sister drive a Benz to graduation. I'm tripping on that Hennessy, and I'm smoking on them buds. I still got love for them players selling them dubs. I remember when I used to do the same shit. Buy a half ounce, cut it up, and sold the block up. Can't put my Glock up. My Glock is my hoe. And my hoe go everywhere I go. Which one of you fake ass marks want to harm me? I say you better bring the Navy because I'm finna bring in that army. I'm finna bring that army. You get 12 white folks and take that shit to trial, bitch. I got to make a plan because them laws is on my ass. I got a bird and I got to sell it fast. They know about the down payment on my third house. They know about the diamond in my little sister's mouth. They know about the Benz and the Black Pathfinder. They know about the vacation trip I took to China. They know about the hoe I was fucking named Kathy. Heard she got busted with a bird in Tallahassee. Oh. And now they trying to say that yay belonging to me. I know them trying to get me because these guys keep holding them nuts on me. Dicky suits and bulletproofs and steel toes. You fake ass guys gone need some real hoes. So go ahead and make up that hand turkey. I pack my shit because it's time for me to go. I'm getting tired of them kicking at my door. And even though they don't find shit, they talk shit, asking questions, saying how the fuck you bought that shit. And how the fuck you don't work but drive different cars. You got them on the interstate in a Jaguar, where the dope and the motherfucking guns at will let you go if you tell us where your son at. Shit, I don't know nothing. Light it up and type it up. And the DA's really cause we gonna strike it up. Now, I'm down in New Orleans with my auntie and my granny, the clean side of Mr. Big family. They know I'm on the run, so I can't use the phone. My motherfucking babies, they don't even know I'm gone. Let my mama left my mama $20,000 for my babies and the bill money. And I'm in the attic smoking weed because I think this shit is still funny. Make them kill me or turn myself in shit. I'm facing life in the goddamn pen. The DA want to see a brother fry. Bring players back to the pen to testify. Yeah, I bought some guns for him, and yeah, he sold me some dope. Mark's telling me on me that I've never seen before. Everybody want to sell dope and try to get rich. Out in the corner, just want to get indicted. You told on yourself, or you told on me. You might as well heard me. You might heard of me, but you never bought no bird from me. Pussy ass Mark's got this game fucked up. That's the line of the song. That's the line of the song. Right? Pussy ass Mark's got this game fucked up. Telling on Marks just to get them time cut. An SKS with a magnifying scope. If you want to fuck with me, bitch, you better get them white folks. All you hoes and all you marks better take that shit to the motherfucking trial. All you hoes and all you marks better take that shit to the motherfucking trial. Take that shit to trial, bitch. 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 And just for shits and giggles, pussy ass Mark's got this game fucked up. This is from what, Mr. Big?
That was great.
Was Mr. Big in trouble?
You mean in this song?
No, was he legit in trouble?
I don't think so.
Because it sounded like he was on the run from the cops.
Oh, in this song, yes.
Oh, okay. But this wasn't real life.
I was a big fan of this particular song. You did a great job with this.
You really like this song?
Oh, dude, it's tremendous. Well, I mean, what a great line it is. Like, you just sort of skipped over it. But he's talking about how he is he sells crack. And he says, I was only 17, had the neighborhood hooked. Had them stealing out their crib because my crack tastes like ribs. He rhymed crib and ribs. That's great stuff.
Yeah, that's ingenious shit. That's stuff that Burt Bacharach would have brought. Neil Diamond.
I was a big fan of when you lost it. When he says, they know about the hoe I was fucking named Kathy. Heard she got busted with a bird in Tallahassee. You fucking love that one.
I know. What? That's just, okay. That's kind of just throwing shit together, don't you think? But that's music today. I get it. I understand.
What a great way to start the song. I started selling dope back in 1986. I bought a Cadillac and put them things on that bitch. Come on. That's awesome.
Do you think so?
I want to make a wrestling version of that for like Arn Anderson. I started selling backdrops back in 1979.
Okay. Well, to each their own. I mean, who am I to criticize?
Next up, we've got the Nasty Boys on one side, Terry Funk and Bunkhouse Buck on the other. We got a little package here as we're visiting how we got here. The gates open up. Here they come. Terry Funk and Mance Warner's daddy, Bunkhouse Buck, also from Buck Snort, Tennessee.
What a crew, man. Terry Funk lives forever too, doesn't he?
Dude, I just have an irrational hate of Colonel Robert Parker. I know he's a great performer, but this outfit, how would you explain this to somebody?
I would say, this is a plantation owner's.
It's 1994. You use
I know.
a plantation owner.
I know it's wrong, isn't it? But the idea was Colonel Robert Parker was kind of like, I mean, he should have been with the Honky Tonk Man, right? Now, Colonel Tom Parker didn't dress like this, but that was the idea.
Here they come, the Nasty Boys. We are the boys. How about that jack-o'-lantern? And the Beavis and Butthead mask. By the way, the Nasty Boys theme song, where are you at? One of the best?
Oh, yeah. Love it.
I don't know. I mean, really, Jimmy Hart is probably the most underrated music guy.
Oh, yeah. He's low key.
But I mean, everybody always talks about Jim Johnson. That's what I mean.
Oh, Jim Johnson. Okay.
But no, I'm saying people talk about Jim Johnson. They don't talk about Jimmy Hart. Jimmy Hart did a great job.
Right.
Don't you think?
He was phenomenal. And I went to a studio and watched Jimmy in action, mixing music. I mean, the guy knew music.
Tony, I got an idea.
Okay.
I got an idea.
Oh, these ideas are always dangerous coming from you.
Really, when it comes to wrestling podcasts, I think you and I are the Nasty Boys. I mean, look at what you earlier came up with an idea to have professional wrestlers draw hand turkey dicks. Like, that's where we are.
All right. All right now. All right. Let's get this straight. Don't you saddle me with that idea. But go ahead.
I'm just saying.
What's your idea?
Maybe we need a remix, and maybe you and I need to market ourselves as the Nasty Boys of wrestling podcasting. And perhaps, I'm just saying, perhaps next week on the show, you and I should do a little cosplay. Maybe we could go trick or treating as the Nasty Boys. I mean, Halloween is next Thursday.
Right.
You'll be home.
Yes.
You'll be at Dynamite on Wednesday, but you'll come home on Thursday.
That's right.
And I think me and you need to go ring some doorbells as the Nasty Boys.
With the song blaring on a boombox.
I think that'd be great.
Now, you have been a nasty boy in
my life. Yes.
Your life, in your childhood, trick or treating.
But it might be time to dust it off and do it again. What do you think?
That's not a bad idea, actually. Now your neighborhood only has 2 houses in it, though.
Yes, we'd have to do it in another neighborhood.
How about Silva's neighborhood?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. We stop at Silva's house first.
We're the boys.
We're the boys. We're the nasty boys. Yeah. I actually like that. It's much better than pumpkin dicks or hand turkeys. Hand turkey dick. Take you to Pity City.
We're the boys.
How's Knobs doing? Have you read or heard?
I think he's better.
Is he?
He's on the mend.
Good.
I saw Jim Duggan just came to visit him not too long ago and posted something on social media.
Where's Brian living? Is he still down in Florida?
Yep. Hey, we didn't talk about this much earlier. We started it and then we sort of moved away, but anything you want to say about the Bischoff thing? I mean,
yeah. Let me think about how to say it. I'm very upset because I'm not so sure Eric was given a chance. There's no way you can bring somebody in and say, okay, 4 weeks later, we don't like what you're doing. You got to give it a chance. And I really think that he was brought in and not given the chance. And I'm saying that from someone who has not talked to Eric, has not talked to Bruce, has not talked to Vince. I've not talked to any. I'm just looking from afar, and maybe looking from afar is poor judgment. Maybe something happened that I don't know. You know, I know you do remember that after WCW closed, they brought, I don't know if you know this, I'm sure it's out there, but they brought in Vince Russo, right?
Right.
And he didn't last long, right?
Right.
Well, he went in, and the reason he didn't last long was, according to Vince, what Vince told me, Vince Russo told me that he went in and told Vince McMahon, you got to get rid of your daughter. She just is not cutting it. And that obviously, something like that would get somebody fired. But I don't think Eric Bischoff would ever do anything like that. I think Bischoff would just work hard, put his nose to the grindstone, and try to put out the best show he could. That being said, I don't know what happened, and I'm very, very disappointed. I'm very heartbroken for Eric, and I think it's wrong. I think if somebody pulls up his stakes and moves all the way across the country, ready to start anew, that you should you should give him a shot. That being said, there's more part of the story that I'm not aware of.
I mean, I don't know everything. I just know that, a lot of people were caught off guard last week, and it was the talk of the internet. And since you're on the family of shows here, I thought I should let you have a minute to address however you wanted.
Thank you. There's a part of me that wants to say, God damn it, Vince, what the fuck are you doing with people's lives? That was my first reaction when I saw that. My second reaction was Tony made the right choice. There's a part of me that's very angry because of it. It is. It's almost as if there's this board game called the Game of Life, and Vince is playing it with people's lives. And that's wrong. I sent Eric a text, didn't call him. I told Eric, I don't have it with me, so I can't read it, that I'm very sorry to hear what happened. Anything I can do for you on this end, please let me know. And he responded with thanks, Tony, exclamation point. That was it. I didn't call him because I would not know what to say. It would be very awkward for me to call him because I would not find the words, but I could in the text. So I texted. Have you and he done a podcast since then?
We have, yeah. It just came out this past Monday on the 21st.
How's his mindset? Is he feeling okay?
Yeah. I mean, listen, he's disappointed, but
he handled it the right way on social media. I can tell you that.
What, when he put over Bruce?
Yes.
Yeah.
He was a pro at it. And that shows me something that I hope tells people something about Eric Bischoff that all of us knew. And that is, even though Eric made some mistakes in WCW, and even though Eric at times let his ego get the better of him, Eric at the core was always a good guy. He was always a good guy. And so ass on the pumpkin. The fans kind of liked this finish, didn't they?
Speaking of pumpkins, did you hear me and Taz get into it last week?
No.
He's fucking not happy with me.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I hung out with him in Philadelphia a little bit. Your name never came up.
Yeah, doesn't surprise me.
Why is he mad?
We did he asked me to come on his show and talk about some podcast controversy stuff this past Friday, and I agreed to do it. It was just literally a last minute thing. I jumped on, and maybe it was Thursday. It was Thursday or Friday, but it was like end of the day. Yeah, it was Thursday. So he was not happy because I sort of freestyled and had fun like we do here on the show. And I don't think he has our sense of humor. And I told him that he wasn't allowed to not like Halloween Cause he said, something like he hated Halloween cause he hated trick-or-treaters and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you can't do that. He said, what do you mean? I said, you based your entire fucking career on Halloween. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, Taz was a Halloween gimmick. He's like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, well, you were black and orange. And that one time he wrestled Sabu in Worcester, he hit you upside the head and candy came out. And on the go home promo for Barely Legal, the first ECW pay-per-view that you headlined, you said, trick or treat, brother. You don't remember all that? He was fucking not happy.
Wow. You really know how to pull his strings, don't you?
I think he's going to dump me on my head, which is not good for me or the floor.
Oh, well, that's disappointing. That's another disappointing story because I like you and I like Taz a lot.
I like Taz a lot. I just don't want to get choked out.
And I thought that Taz did a great job on AEW Dark that dropped yesterday.
Oh yeah. You saw it? I hadn't seen it yet. It was good.
Yeah. Yeah, it was great. Of course I saw it. I saw it as it happened. For you people guys on Patreon, it hasn't, AEW Dark hasn't dropped yet. It drops on Tuesday, but for everybody else that this show drops on Wednesday, it's already dropped. And of course our shows are evergreen, but now speaking of Eric Bischoff being a good guy. Okay. This is, Mr. Bill Shaw, who we're getting ready to see when we take the 4 shot here. Mr. Bill Shaw, who is the one who was instrumental in Eric Bischoff taking over the company. He was one of Ted Turner's right-hand men. And they presented Muhammad Ali with a check, although they never, wasn't a gimmick big check. It was just a check in an envelope. And
in hindsight, should have been a big check.
Should have been a big check, right?
Would have been funny if Shaw just like reached into his pocket and pulled out a rubber band of hundreds.
Right. And of course, this was for the, I think the Muhammad Ali Foundation. I may not have the words right there. It may have been something else, but obviously Muhammad Ali, a big deal in Detroit. And of course, here's Eric Bischoff, and Gene did a great job of introducing Eric. And this, they'll take a shot of Eric here in a minute, and that's Eric Bischoff I knew. That's a baby-faced look. That's a sincere look. And that's a kid who, as Gene said in his lead-in right there, the blood, sweat, and tears in this company. So,
how about the lady in the front row with the sign that says Muhammad Ali, you're simply the best, and it's YOUR. I mean, but she put a lot of time into that sign. It's got a lot of sequined trim around the outside, and
blood, sweat, and tears into that sign too.
And she's not a kid. This is a very grown woman.
Yeah, she's. But I think we had just been talking about Eric, and I was talking about what type of guy Eric Bischoff really is, and I think that facial expression and that reaction said it all right there about what type of guy Eric is. I hope he lands on his feet. God, I feel bad for him. And there's a lot of me that's pissed off too. But Klondike Bill and the crew are building the cage right now. Can't wait.
The way you guys would have to, filibuster before the main event, whenever you're putting up a cage like this, that's got to be a big thing you have to plan for in the production meeting with packages and stand-ups and wraparounds. And
right.
Do you think that hurts the momentum of a show, or do you have to, is there a way to do it skillfully?
You mean, is there a way to build the cage skillfully or quickly, or to
keep the show from coming to a stall, to a halt? Like if you've got some momentum and it's action, and now we've got to do all this other stuff. Is it like, hey, we've got to have a hard hitting package, or, how do you sort of fill the time?
Well, normally we would have a hard hitting package, and normally we would, fill it with the storyline to get you caught up on the story. Although there was a school of thought that always said, well, by the time they get to the pay-per-view, they know the story. I never thought that was the correct line of thinking. But they started building the cage quicker because they started flying the cage in.
Explain what that means.
All right. The old school way would be have guys build one side, build another side, hook into that, and build all four sides around the ring. The new school way would be to take the cage, already have it built, have it suspended like they do right here, and lower the cage to the ring. That would certainly speed up the setup time with the cage, and it was a little bit more dramatic, don't you think?
Oh, for sure. I just know a lot of people would not be familiar with the phrase "fly the cage in."
Right. They dropped the cage from the ceiling.
And here we come, the Nature Boy Ric Flair, looking only as he can look. I think that's my favorite robe I can't find. I say this at least once or twice a year. If you know where this Flair butterfly robe is, hit me up. I would love to buy you a brand new Forerunner in exchange for it. It's the coolest Flair robe. I mean, it's the one I remember most when he was on the cover of the WWF magazine, and it was a big deal at the time. And that's also the robe that has floated around with Sherry Martel posing in it, presumably naked. But I don't know, did Flair always sort of insinuated that him and Sherry were just drinking buddies, but you were just freestyling, probably trying to look for a laugh. But
right.
Do you think she ever legitimately got a one-way trip on Space Mountain?
I think it's possible. I think once you start drinking a lot with a girl like that something would eventually happen at the end of the night at times. I think that's possible. But then again, there's always the case of, Sherry seemed to be unhinged at times, and he just probably didn't want to have that trouble. Just freestyling here again. Maybe I'm wrong. Brother Brute, I almost busted his ass. Oh, by the way, for you, you guys and gals online, 208 20 21 22 23 24.
When you go to a wrestling show, when was the last time you went to a wrestling show just to watch it? Double or Nothing? Is that it?
Yeah.
Did you have any treats? What did you enjoy? Did you have like a Diet Coke or a Diet Mountain Dew and some Reese's Pieces?
No, I would have drunk, I think I had I didn't have any Reese's Pieces, but I think I had a drink. I think I had a cocktail.
Wow. You put a little booze in it.
Yeah. I think, Matt, my son who was with me, if you'll recall, since you so graciously got those tickets, went and got me, something to drink. And I'm not really a beer drinker, but, he got me some booze. And you know what? Jim Ross has got me to drinking again.
Yes, he has.
He introduced me to Moscow Mules, and man, I like them. And I'm telling you, I went years. I would go to the doctor, and they would always put on on this thing you got to fill out. You got to fill it out every time for some unknown reason. They would always put, "Do you drink? Yes or no?" And I would always click no or check no. Do you drink? Have you had any drinks? And I would go, yes. How many drinks do you have per month, per year? And I would go, 1 drink per month. Normally.
That's a lot more now.
Oh yeah. I got to stop.
What are we up to now?
I would say maybe 10 drinks a month.
Oh, Jesus. You got to slow down.
Yeah.
You're going to die.
I maybe have 2 drinks per week.
you're telling me that every third day you have one adult beverage?
Yeah.
Fuck, Tony.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a meeting or something.
No, I'm listen, sincerely, it ain't good for you. All right. It ain't good for you. So I need to stop. I'm not talking about being inebriated. I'm talking about for you. Here comes the cage. Here comes the cage. Here's the dramatic drop of the cage.
I don't know if you know this, but as they're dropping the cage, I know we've got the sound muted, and look how it's coming down crooked. It's the most WCW thing ever.
That camera shot is too.
I like it. I like the crooked camera shot. It makes me feel like it's old school Batman. Look at this fucking thing. Anyway, as they were lowering it, the dramatic music that they chose here in 1994 was Trial Time by Mr. Big.
Of course it was. Why? Because as we just found out via the lyrics, it was a dramatic song.
Dude, I got to make a Tony Schiavone version of that. Cause you started calling wrestling in 83, right?
Yes.
I started putting over spots back in 1983. Come on.
Them pussy ass marks.
Still coming for me.
Of which I was one for many a year. Don't fuck with me. I'll stick it in your fucking ear.
I'll have a Moscow Mule because I don't drink beer. I want to fuck Francine, but I got to whisper that so Lois won't hear. Mr. T, can you believe this is a real thing?
Yes.
What do you think y'all paid Mr. T?
I don't know. I have no idea what I'm sure we paid him. It had to be 5 figures. Don't you think?
It just seems like a waste.
You know why? You know another reason it seems like a waste? We didn't do a fucking interview with him in the show. Did we? Did I miss it?
But
we did.
But here's the deal. He's trying to sell pay-per-view. So what does it matter?
Yeah. But he's a celebrity and he's got some notoriety, and we ought to at least, and we showed Ric Flair with him. I mean, build the story. We showed that camera shot of Ric Flair with him. Talk to Mr. T and ask him what that was all about. Have him talk about the match. If you're going to pay him all this money, hell, use him.
Here's my thing. Like at this point, and don't get me wrong, Mr. T was a big deal way back in the day.
Sure.
He did Saturday Night Live. He did Rocky 3. He did, lots of other different strokes and Alvin and the Chipmunks. And, of course he had some TV movies along the way, like The Toughest Man in the World. And he
was on the A-Team, right?
Yeah. And he did the TV series, Mr. T, and A-Team was probably the hype, but that was over in 87. And here we are, 7 years later. He hadn't done anything for a while. I think he did a little TV show called TNT for a few years, but that ended in 90. Like the only thing he did this year, 1994, is a cameo on the television show Blossom. And now we're paying him a bunch of money to come in here. And I don't know, like this to me just feels like Hogan going back to what he knows. And since WrestleMania got over and it was a big hit and obviously a game changer and Mr. T was involved, well, we got to have Mr. T. And Muhammad Ali, of course, also at that first WrestleMania. It's just weird, Ali's at the first Mania, he's here. Mr. T's at the first Mania, he's here. And the entire promo, as he's talking about being in this building, he's talking about being right up the street, dude, body slamming that mean, nasty giant.
Well, your feelings are right, Conrad. Great shot there of staying in the reflection. Your feelings are right. We kind of tried to harken back to an era that was gone to try to make it relevant and try to make what In other words, look, I think it's a valid point that that nostalgia wasn't as big back then as it is now. But now we take nostalgia and we kind of tip our cap to it, but we don't make it our driving angle. Does that make sense to you? We don't make it our main event.
Right.
You're Kevin Sullivan barking in the background?
No.
Okay. I sure do. Jesus. Muhammad Ali watching on. I think we mentioned that Willie Stargell was there. And we mentioned that Hank Aaron was there. And I don't think we showed either one of them, which would be a very WCW thing to do.
Hank Aaron's here and you didn't show him?
Yep. And of course, Willie Stargell was there as well. I mean, we mentioned that. We showed Thomas Hearns. We had him come out and say a few words while I was rapping. But and Hank Aaron was a frequent visitor to our shows because Hank was a fan of ours. There has never been a nicer gentleman in this world than Hank Aaron. Just a humble man who is one of the great athletes of all time. Just amazing stuff. Oh, is he going to zip himself here? Yep, there he did, right there.
All right. Dave would say it was funny to hear Okerlund on the broadcast talk about Willie Stargell and Hank Aaron as being there when they weren't.
They weren't.
Although Aaron was scheduled and canceled at the last minute.
All right. I thought he was there.
Here's what he said. He said, the announcing was fine for the most part. Bobby Heenan worked in what I was told extreme pain. The one negative is Heenan badly showed his age when making references to Detroit and bringing up names like Denny McLean, Gordie Howe, Alex Karras, blah, blah, blah. So he's talking about maybe being out of touch and talking about the old school.
Right.
Well, those are common criticism. You know, Dave would often bring up how dated some of the references were because the announcers would talk about stuff that wasn't, you know, was maybe too old.
Right.
Did you hear those criticisms? And did you think there was anything to that hey, maybe we're dating ourselves a little bit and we should make it about today and not talk about the old stuff?
Yeah, that was a concern. I think, I heard, of course, I didn't read that stuff that Dave wrote and those people wrote, but it always kind of floated back to me and I would hear it and I would think, yeah, he's right. I mean, we do that. We try to do some of that today on AEW, but we try to do very, very limited stuff because just me and JR being there will bring you back. But Gordie Howe was way removed from 1994, wasn't he? I mean,
yeah.
We're talking about, yeah. So
let's talk about something else Meltzer said. He said, it's 1994, almost 95, a fact everyone seems oblivious to when the constant references were whether it would be Flair or Hogan that would lead wrestling into the 90s. Overall, I gave the show a thumbs up on Sunday night when it was over. By Tuesday morning, after thinking about it, it was a thumbs down. It was an entertaining show to me, but they promised as hyped it was something as special, and it wound up feeling far too ordinary. At Starrcade 93, they had a chance to do something special, and they didn't blow it. This time they did, and the decision-making process that went on before the show as to why they didn't blow it was the most disappointing part of the show. It was a one-match card, and the one match delivered for excitement. The last episode of a television series needs to be more than a bunch of laughs. You need to remember it the next morning with emotion. By that standard, the match failed. The show was average at best underneath with too many bad finishes. Maybe I was influenced initially by seeing most of these same guys in an awful house show last week, and all worked much harder and had better matches on the show.
my reaction to that is that Dave thought too much about it.
He says, we'll talk about what he said about the match, but the next morning, thinking back on Flair's final match, once the angle that was shot yesterday and forgotten by the day it came out and went, The only impression one could get was that Flair was done, and there was nothing special done to make it memorable. A bunch of jumbled bullshit that was exciting that had no bite. Nothing worth remembering out of Flair's last trip down the aisle, even though he himself put on a good performance. Flair likes to think of himself as a great sports star. He deserves to be in the company of a Larry Bird or Magic Johnson, because in an athletic profession, he was the single best there was for more than a decade. Yes, it's a fixed and choreographed world, but a still competitive, highly competitive athletic arena. And there were those blessed with more ability, but none worked harder, more often, and longer, both in and out of the ring. Unlike many others who weren't as good, and few were as good or lucky, and very few that work hard, he in turn got what he deserved out of the business in terms of fame, money, and reputation. Even Larry Bird and Magic Johnson could never boast of being the single best in their profession 9 nights out of 10 for a period of more than 10 years. But no company was lucky enough to have a Larry Bird or Magic Johnson would ever send them on their way in such a pitiful manner. Not for them. It made me laugh when people after the fact complained Flair deserved better, even though for all of his hard work and all he meant to a company that wouldn't even exist today without him, sure he did. But if he wanted it bad enough, he could have gotten it. His fans deserve better on this night because they make up a sizable, perhaps majority portion of the record revenue this company will derive from the event. It was they, not Flair, who felt spit on Sunday night. In most cases, the careers emotionally of sports heroes mean more to their fans, short for fanatics, than they do to the person themselves. If you read this publication, you should realize pro wrestling is just a business and a form of entertainment. Some wrestlers are excellent athletes and some are excellent entertainers, and very few are both. But neither of those traits make individuals worthy of idolatry. It's also undeniable, whether worthy or not, being an idol is bestowed upon them by their fans because usually luck and being in the right place at the same time, and sometimes because of their talent. But to fans, it's not complicated. Most fans of any entertainment form are wrapped up and mainly, rightly or wrongly, idealize their favorite in that entertainment arena. Now that that's all said and done, Ric Flair is nobody to feel sorry for. He got a great contractual deal at a time in his life that should mean a lot. All he had to do was lose one wrestling match. It was forced on him, yes, but it was a business decision where they stripped him of something that he didn't deserve to be stripped of, but paid him well in doing so. If he doesn't come back, he got $1 million payoff in essence, even if it's spread over a few years. As much confidence as he had in his ability, he would have never dreamed when he broke his back in 72, or even when he won the title in 81, that one day when he was 45, he'd get $1 million payoff. With all the houses he'd drawn and all the matches he'd had, he'd never seen a payoff of more than $25,000 as late as 1990. The people feel sorry for are Ric Flair fans who supported him against all odds. They were told to not support him when he was never allowed to look good in his role, and his role was to make those less talented look good. But his charisma and ability, and above all else, work ethic, kept those fans loyal to him because they knew he was the real star with the real ability. He had the most loyal fans in the business because no scriptwriter gave them to him. And no matter how hard they tried, and they tried as hard as they could never take those fans away from him. The only illusion involved with his fans is that they are the ones who tried to create the show that weren't there. And if there was one thing they had in common, it was by idealizing what Flair supposedly stood for, hard work and building drama every night, it was hating what it didn't. Hated those achieving success without willingness to put in the hard work, by simply being in a position to take and never having to give. And more than any other wrestler, maybe ever, Flair never let his fans down when it came to personal effort. It didn't matter what the finish was booked. It didn't matter if he was sick or on the road 30 days straight. If he was injured or had a terrible opponent or was up all night the day before partying, he never claimed an excuse and he never needed one. He never let them down until the end. And then he did. Big time. By being the job boy to the only wrestler that could never accept him sacrificing himself for. Where Ric Flair missed the boat on Ric Flair is that Flair versus Hogan was not a fake wrestling match to his fans where he could lose. And it was okay because he carried another less talented performer to heights he couldn't reach on his own. It represented a lot of things to a lot of different people on both sides of the coin. So he's breaking down, you know, how serious this is, the decision to retire and this stakes match here. And even though he's putting over how strong Flair was as a performer, he's also very critical of him sort of selling out for this position. In hindsight, we realize Meltzer's probably overreacting because Flair's not going to be retired for very long. But at the time, nobody knew that. And I like what he's saying about, you know, these fans who are here as WCW fans. Most of them are here because of stuff that Ric Flair has done, not Hulk Hogan.
So what's the upshot? Should have Flair gone over here? I don't get. Well, I mean, or should the match not even have been booked this way?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the criticism, is it shouldn't have been booked as a retirement match. But I think Bischoff and his obsession for stakes, he wanted, you know, a match of consequence.
Yeah. Look at this crazy woman.
Dude, look at her go.
I know.
So process what we got going on. Ooh. Mr. T. Oh, there we go.
There you go. That's a pretty good shot.
When I was 13, I was all about that.
I bet you were.
Jimmy's like, a woman's dress? What am I supposed to do with this? Lord, we should airbrush this. I could airbrush this and put beans and taters on it. Dude.
Wow. This is pretty good shit here now.
Sting has pulled a woman down by her hair.
What?
And a guy with a black mask on and a lead pipe is now.
It's the fucking Black Scorpion. He will not leave Sting alone.
What the fuck?
Look, she's fucking nuts, buddy.
She's on top of the goddamn cage.
Look at her.
It just jumped right off. And he
doesn't give a fuck.
No, he just acted like nothing happened.
All right.
This is my favorite.
Favorite.
My
one.
God. What are we doing? Look at this.
She's taking off some shit too, isn't she?
Convoluted.
She's taking off some shit. And what do we have in the hard camera shot? We got the ass of the masked man in the hard camera shot. Sherry's going to handcuff.
Yeah, they had been teasing that Mr. T might be turning on Hulk Hogan here.
Right.
By the way, they go 19 minutes and 25 seconds. Do you want to guess what the rating for this one was?
Don't tell me it was a dud.
4.25.
4.25? All right. So the stars are 4.25, but Meltzer the day later gave it a thumbs down. See, again, I'm telling you, Dave thought too much about this. Your thumbs up or thumbs down is based on what you felt right after the show ended, not the next fucking day after you got a call from Flair or whoever helped you come up with your ideas.
By the way, Flair or Meltzer would write, Flair should have retired in Charlotte last December because the final memory is one that lasts a lifetime.
No.
He'll probably return and the David Copperfield act will be forgotten, but in the event he doesn't ever wrestle again, one last thing needs to be said. Thank you.
Did Meltzer really think that Flair would never wrestle again?
I mean, did you hear the way he wrote? I mean,
you know what? Meltzer's working us. He's working his readers. No one believed Flair would never wrestle again. No one. If Meltzer did, he was the only one. Why'd he even put that if? Next time, is Dave coming to StarCast?
I don't know.
Because Dave, did you really think at the end of Halloween Havoc 94 that Flair would never wrestle again? You put if. Was there some doubt in your mind? There was no doubt in anyone's mind. I think it was a thumbs up show. leave it at that. Don't overthink it. Did you leave the show thinking, hey, that was pretty cool? Then that's thumbs up. Not the next day when you have to think about, did he really wrestle his last match? No. Of course he wouldn't go to wrestle his last match. Other than that, though, Sherry's pretty provocative, don't you think?
I just can't believe that Hogan's I mean, he just kicked a woman in the face.
Well, no, he gave her the big boot.
And what's the difference?
Oh, he's hooking up. Ooh. Oh, go point him. No. Flair said no. He blocks it. Boom. Blocks it. Boom. Boom. 1, 2, 3, right? Here it comes. The leg. Come on. Put it near Mr. T. Drop the leg. Wake up. What? Okay. 1, 2, 3. Oh my God. Do you think Flair's career is really over, Conrad?
Well, Meltzer would report 2 weeks beforehand. The final matches for Flair in the Carolinas were October 6th in Greensboro and the 7th in Charleston, South Carolina.
Uh-huh.
In Greensboro, when they announced the pay-per-view match and the career versus career steps, the crowd didn't even react to the announcement.
Yeah. Because they knew.
Also, go ahead.
Not a bad effort for Eric for the stakes. Okay. I'm sure there's some people out there that thought maybe Flair's gone, but no one believed it. In the wrestling world, a retirement match never really was there ever a retirement match that really ever stuck? No. Not that I'm aware of. So.
Look at that lady in the front row, dude, with the Hulk rules shirt pointing to Ali and.
Well, you got to agree. 2 major stars there, right? Hogan and Ali together.
What if Hogan was to say, brother, why don't we have a boxing match right now? Put his gloves on and just punched Ali in the face. We could draw some real money, brother. One last match. Muhammad Ali, Hulk Hogan.
Do you realize I've just moved my the mouse on my computer over there? Still about 9 minutes to go in this fucking show.
Yeah.
What the fuck? 9 minutes to go in the show.
Let's talk about a few other things.
Please, God.
The front row was $500 for this show.
Okay.
And ticket holders got their photos taken with Hogan and Muhammad Ali and some personal autographs, and all the money would go to Ali's charity. So, I mean, really, when you think about it, a front row show to a pay-per-view, and you get your picture with Hulk Hogan and Muhammad Ali, and you get autographs from both. And by the way, it's all for charity. That's a hell of a deal, is it not?
Yeah. That is big time a hell of a deal.
They sold 3.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
They sold 3.
Yep. Around the same time too, Hogan was a topic on a cable sports talk show in Chicago where Vince McMahon is being interviewed. And he says that Hogan had always told him he would never work against him. And he can't understand why his friend would go work against him in the minor leagues.
Wow. Oh, that's why the angle is not over.
Do you know who it is?
I don't think it's Arn. Did we unmask him? Do I remember?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're setting up Starrcade 1994.
All right.
He needs to know the identity of this masked man who's been trying to ruin his life.
Okay.
And take his title, cost him his career. The cartoon wind up of the punch, dude. Where are you at on it?
It's to me like Flair flipping over the top turnbuckle. It's part of the gimmick.
Here we go. It was Brother Brudi this whole time. Can you believe it?
Drama.
Tremendous. We should mention Rick Rude filed a $630,000 lawsuit against WCW stemming from his departure and his injury. And, that's not great.
No.
Talk to me a little bit about Mark Madden and Gene Okerlund. Apparently they were having some moments where Madden wanted to, do certain things on the hotline. Okerlund wasn't a big fan of, and eventually Okerlund wanted him thrown off. And apparently Eric Bischoff stops that, but asks him to be a little nicer to Okerlund, and Okerlund is going to continue to listen as Madden is just ripping him. What do you think about the Mark Madden, Gene Okerlund situation?
Well, I think Mark was told to come in and be as opinionated and be as controversial as he could. And I think you and I know Mark very well. He's going to do exactly what he's told to do. And then they backed off on it a little bit. Mark, to me, Mark was a great heel because that was his persona. It was real, and it was all a work to him. And he would push the envelope to the point to where he would piss people off. And I often wondered why people got pissed off at Mark within the business. Gene being one. Diamond Dallas Page would get pissed off at him as well for things that he would say, but he was a heel. All right. That was his character. So
Earthquake, the former Earthquake, is here. Oh, and here comes Sting coming to make the save, attacking Kevin Sullivan on the outside, climbs the top rope, coming right down on John Tenta and Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
This is leading to the Dungeon of Doom, isn't it?
It is indeed.
Yep.
And this is a big signing for them, to have Tenta come in. Of course, again, going back to what Hogan knows.
Yeah, right.
He headlined SummerSlam 90. It was a co-main event. Rick Rude and Ravishing Rick Rude challenging for the world title with the Ultimate Warrior in a steel cage. And then also Earthquake and Hulk Hogan after that big angle where he attacked him and left him laying on the Brother Love show. Huge opportunity here for him, and good for Tenta for finding a new gig here.
Yeah. I'm with you on that.
It's also rumored that since Flair has to retire, Sherry Martel has nobody to manage. So Meltzer would freestyle. They'll probably just put her with Steve Austin.
It's a work, Dave. She's going to have a job. It's a work.
Give everybody the time code here.
Okay. The time code that I have is 238, 50, 51, 52, 53, 4, 5, 6.
Well,
so we got about 4 minutes to go on the show. 3 minutes and something and change. And Sting's helping Hogan up. So yeah, I think that just a feeling here, the actual shock value of Brother Brutai being the guy in the mask was pretty cool. The drama that was pretty cool, but Hogan and Brutai, I don't know if anyone really wanted to see it, right?
Right.
In other words, the payoff was, oh my God, it's Brother Brutai. Do you want to see the match? No.
What an interesting time to go back and look at, because, just 2 years after this, the NWO is running roughshod, and it's a whole new world. By the way, the Wrestling Observer reader poll, this got 30% thumbs up, 49% thumbs down, 19% thumbs in the middle. The best match, and it wasn't close, is Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan with 119 votes. Second best is Dustin and Arn, which got 20. The worst match, also not close. It's Kevin versus Dave Sullivan. 91 votes there.
Yeah, the reader poll right on. And of course, a lot of the readers of Dave Meltzer's newsletter back then hated Hulk Hogan. So anything that put Hulk Hogan on top at the end, even though, as you can see, he's being helped off here, it doesn't look like he's up top. But any show that had Hogan on top at the end would probably get a thumbs down from Meltzer's readers.
Well, Tony, this show hopefully didn't get a thumbs down from our listeners. We appreciate everybody tuning in to Halloween Havoc 1994 today. We've got lots of fun stuff coming your way as we march towards the end of the year. Coming up next week, Halloween Havoc 1996, which is such a great show, a great undercard, big names in the main event, Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage. And you may remember, this is the show where Hulk Hogan has a hairpiece. So I'm sure we're going to have fun with that.
Wow, we really are.
We've also got November to Remember 1999 coming your way November 6th. On the 13th, it'll be Clash of the Champions 25. On the 20th, it'll be Clash 13. And then we'll finish out November with something I know you're going to be excited about. Starrcade 84. We're going to do that one on November 27th.
Wow, I am excited about that one. Starrcade 84. Woo, you're talking about going back in time. Can't wait.
Well, Tony, when I look at my clock, I feel like it's about that time.
You're exactly right. But look, Conrad, would you look in the ring? Someone has left a trail of Reese's Pieces in the ring and making his way to the ring. No, it's not E.T. It's that fucking Cassio Kid. And right next to him is that dumbass Doug Markham. They are picking up Reese's Pieces and they're eating them as they come to the ring. And now they walk into the ring and they're showing us their artwork. My God. They got hand turkeys, but they look like pumpkin dicks. What's going on? We are desperately out of time. We'll see you next week on What Happened When. We're on the MLW Radio Network, but on Mondays, we're always on
Patron. I'm Doug, man.
Hogan and Nitro, New World Order and the Crow, Thunder Russo, Arquette Champ, Vinnie Mac, simulcast. Tony's back with Conrad, not your classy podcast. Watch along, try not to laugh. Lowest rules can't pass. This wasn't the initial plan.